Good morning, dear friend, as the first light of dawn stretches gently across the sky, casting golden hues on quiet rooftops and waking the world in silence. I welcome you to a sacred moment, this early hour before the rush, before the noise holds a kind of holiness that is hard to find elsewhere in the day. It is a space where heaven seems just a little closer, where stillness speaks louder than words, and where your heart can finally breathe, before the demands of life press in, before the world begins to pull you in 1,000 directions. This is your moment, a moment to pause, a moment to remember that you are not alone. Somewhere right now, someone is sitting on the edge of their bed, barely holding themselves together. Their hands tremble as they wipe away tears no one else sees. They are carrying the weight of a loss too deep for language. Maybe it was a goodbye they never saw coming. Maybe it is the slow unraveling of something they once thought would last. Or maybe it is the silent fear of waking up to another day that feels exactly like the one before, empty, uncertain, and heavy. They try to pray, but the words do not come. They try to hope, but the light feels dim. The world tells them to be strong, to push through, to get over it, but strength is not always loud. Sometimes, it is just the act of showing up, just the act of whispering, "God, I am here," even when everything inside feels broken. Maybe you know that feeling. Maybe this morning, you are that person. If you are, this sacred space is for you. We live in a world where many are walking with full calendars and empty souls, where people smile in public but cry in private. Questions linger without answers, and hearts ache without relief. But what if I told you that even in the most confusing seasons, even in the middle of pain, failure, regret, or silence, there is a God who has not let go of your story, a God who still writes hope into the margins of your sorrow, who still whispers your name in the dark, and who has not forgotten how to find you. Faith is not the absence of trouble. It is the presence of God in the middle of it. Prayer is not a magic formula. It is a conversation with the one who sees what no one else sees, knows what you cannot understand, and loves you more than you dare to believe. Prayer is where your burdens meet his strength. It is where your chaos meets his peace. It is where the pieces of your life that feel scattered begin to find shape again, not all at once, but gently, patiently, as only the hands of a loving Father can do. So this morning, I invite you to breathe, to set aside the questions for a moment, to quiet the doubts, the deadlines, the voices of fear that follow you like shadows. I invite you to open your heart not to religion, not pressure, but to relationship, to a quiet and honest conversation with the God who has been waiting to meet you right here, right now. You do not need to have all the right words. You do not need to pretend. You only need to be willing. Let this be the beginning of something holy, not because life suddenly makes sense, but because in this space, your heart dares to trust again. This journey is not about how strong you are. It is about how present he is, and he is here. So, dear friend, if you are ready, let us begin. Dear Heavenly Father, This morning I come before you with a heart that feels like it is wandering in the dark. The world is slowly waking up. Outside, the light is breaking gently over rooftops. Trees are stretching into the dawn. And somewhere, people are already pouring their first cups of coffee. But here I am, sitting in stillness, and I do not know which way to go. I feel like I am standing in the middle of a road that disappears into fog. I have tried to keep moving. I have tried to keep pretending, but the truth is, I am lost not just in plans or circumstances, but in something deeper. I am lost inside. I do not know how I ended up here, and I do not know how to find my way back. I do not need everything to be perfect. I am not asking for all the answers. I just need one thing this morning. I need to know that you are here with me, that you see me. Even now, before the day really begins, I need to know that I am not invisible to you. I have walked through too many days with a smile that did not reach my heart. I have learned how to look composed on the outside, while everything inside is tangled in questions, doubts, and quiet grief. I carry it all like a heavy coat that I do not know how to take off. There was a time I felt close to you. I remember it. The way it felt to trust without second-guessing. The way it felt to wake up with peace instead of pressure. I want that again. I do not know how I lost it. Maybe it was disappointment that built up slowly. Maybe it was prayers I whispered that went unanswered. Maybe it was my own choices that drew me away without me even noticing. But wherever I took a wrong turn, I know now that I cannot fix this by myself. I have run out of directions. I have run out of willpower. I am tired, Lord, tired in a place deeper than sleep can reach. So I stop running. I stop pretending I have it all together. I lay my confusion before you like a broken compass. I open my hands and ask you to take this heaviness from me. Even if I cannot feel you clearly right now, I choose to believe that you are still near. I choose to believe that even when my emotions fail, your presence does not. Even when my understanding falls short, your love does not. I do not need lightning today. I do not need a loud miracle. I just need the quiet assurance that I am still held, that I am not forgotten, that you know how to guide me even when I do not know what to ask for. The silence has been long. I have listened for answers in so many places. I have chased the approval of people, the safety of plans, the illusion of control, but none of it has given me what my soul longs for. I do not want more noise. I want you. I want the gentle voice that still speaks in the early hours when the rest of the world is still asleep. I want the peace that does not depend on circumstances. I want the stillness that comes from knowing I am exactly where I need to be, not because I planned it, but because you placed me here. Lord, if this is the starting place, if this is the beginning of a new way, then I surrender to it. I do not need to see the finish line. I just want to take the next step with you. I am no longer trying to build a life without a blueprint. I am no longer trying to decorate my confusion with success or productivity. I just want to be led. I want you to show me how to walk again, how to listen, how to live from a place of faith instead of fear. I have tried my own way, and it has brought me here tired, uncertain, and empty. Now I want your way, even if it is slower, even if it requires trust I have not yet learned. I want to walk with you through this morning and through whatever comes next. I bring you the parts of me that feel scattered. I bring the worry I cannot silence. I bring the fear that whispers I am too far gone. I bring the memories that still ache, the dreams I buried, and the questions that make my faith shake. I bring all of it. Not because I think you will fix everything in one moment, but because I believe you care. I believe you are the kind of God who sits with the lost, who finds the hurting, who walks the road with the uncertain. I believe you are not afraid of my weakness, and you are not shocked by my silence. You still draw near. You still speak gently. You still hold me when I do not know how to pray. If all I can do this morning is whisper your name, let that be enough. If all I can offer is my honesty, take it. If all I have is the breath to say I am here, then let that be my prayer. I do not need to pretend with you. I do not need to hide. I just need to trust that you are working even now, that you have not let me go, that you are not done with my story. I want to believe again. I want to hope again. I want to begin again, not with strength, but with surrender. I do not know what this day holds, but I want to face it with you. I want to walk this road not alone, not in fear, not in confusion, but in quiet trust that the God who made the sun rise will also show me the way. So I wait. I open my heart to you. I let the morning light remind me that nothing is too lost to be found, that no night lasts forever, and that even when I feel furthest away, you are still coming close. I welcome you into this moment. Lead me from here. Father, something inside me still trembles. Even after pouring out my awareness before you, even after sitting in the quiet and asking for your presence to meet me, there is a part of my soul that still feels fragile. I carry a soundless scream deep within, not loud enough for others to hear, not even always clear enough for me to name. But it is there. It pulses beneath the surface. It rises when the day is quiet, when I am alone, when the distractions fade and I am left with the weight of emotions I cannot outrun. I do not know how to release this ache, but I know it is real. I know you see it. So I bring it to you now, not with polished words or explanations, just with open hands and a trembling heart. God, there are moments I wish I could cry the way my heart wants to. There is pain that feels like it is stuck between two ribs, waiting for permission to be felt. There are memories I keep tucked away so that I can function, but they knock quietly when I try to rest. There is fear that I do not speak about because I worry it will sound like weakness. But it is not weakness to feel. It is not shameful to be wounded. And you are the only one who knows how deep some wounds go. You are the only one who hears the prayers I do not have words for. You are the one who catches the tears that never fall. Sometimes I wonder, Lord, if you are waiting for me to fall apart, not because you delight in my pain, but because you know that only then will I finally let go of pretending. I have been strong for too long. I have tried to carry burdens you never asked me to lift alone. I have smiled when I should have cried, nodded when I should have confessed, stayed silent when I needed to speak. I have been afraid to admit how much I am hurting because the world keeps moving and I am afraid to fall behind. But I cannot keep carrying this in secret. I need to be known by you fully. I need to be seen not just as someone surviving, but as someone struggling to understand how to breathe again when everything inside is tight and heavy. I do not know how to name this grief, but I know it lingers. Maybe it is loss that has not yet healed. Maybe it is disappointment that piled up over time, never exploding but always building. Maybe it is the weight of expectations I have placed on myself, or the silence I received when I prayed and longed for an answer. Whatever it is, I am not afraid to bring it to you now. You are not intimidated by my sorrow. You are not overwhelmed by my emotion. You are the only place I can be unfiltered and unafraid. You invite honesty, not performance. You welcome my pain, not just my praise. And in this stillness, I realize that even my silence can be sacred when offered to you. That the cries I cannot voice are not lost in the air, but held in your presence. That the H in my chest is not a sign of distance from you, but a place where you are ready to meet me more deeply. So I surrender even the parts of me I do not fully understand. The waves of sadness that come without warning. The tension in my shoulders that never seems to release. The empty spaces where joy used to live. I give you all of it. Not because I know what you will do with it, but because I trust that you are gentle with broken things. I am not asking you to erase every trace of pain. I am asking you to sit with me in it, to remind me that even here, even in the unspoken spaces of my soul, I am not alone. You are the God who does not demand clarity before compassion. You do not wait for healing before you show up. You are here, in the mess, in the H, in the wordless prayers that rise like smoke from a tired heart. And somehow, knowing that you are here makes this silence feel a little softer. It makes this pain feel a little less permanent. It reminds me that the darkness does not get the final word. There are things I do not know how to let go of, but I bring them into your light. There are questions I have stopped asking, but you already know what they are. There is a weight I cannot define, but you know how to lift it. And so I come to you without needing to perform. I come without needing to explain. I come simply because I believe you are the only one who can hold what I cannot carry. Let this unspoken cry be enough today. Let the heaviness I have carried become a place where your tenderness enters. Let this hidden grief become soil for something sacred. I do not want to just survive. I want to be whole. I want to wake up not dreading the day, but welcoming it. I want to breathe without feeling like I have to earn my next breath. I want to believe that even in the H, you are working something good. I want to trust that my broken places are not barriers to you, but bridges where your love crosses over to meet me. And if I cannot yet feel peace, help me to believe that peace is still possible. If I cannot yet see light, help me to know that light still exists. If I cannot yet stand tall, remind me that kneeling in your presence is strength too. I am not trying to be impressive, Lord. I just want to be real. I want to meet you here, in this quiet moment, in this soft morning where the world is still waking. I want to believe that you hear what I cannot say, that you understand what I do not express, that you are already doing a deeper work inside me. one that does not need explanation to be effective. This morning, I give you my soundless scream. I give you the grief that does not shout but still shapes the way I move through life. I give you the part of me that hesitated to speak, unsure if you would understand, and I feel your nearness, not through loud miracles, but through the comfort of knowing that nothing I feel is too small or too complicated for you to touch. You are here. You are listening. And that is enough for me to breathe again. Lord, as I sit with you now, still carrying the H that has no words, I begin to notice something else stirring within me. Beneath the silent grief and the questions I cannot name, there are shadows, soft but persistent, whispering old stories I thought I had forgotten. They rise without warning, like the smell of rain before a storm. I'm right buried, coming up through cracks in the surface. I tried to move past them. I told myself they did not matter anymore. But here in the quiet, with no noise to distract me, I realize they are still speaking, and I am ready to listen. Father, there are things in my past that I never truly laid down. Wounds I covered but never healed. Choices I made that still haunt the edges of my peace. Moments I wish I could go back and rewrite, but cannot, and regrets that echo louder than they should. I have tried to convince myself that time was enough to erase their grip on me, but time does not heal what the heart still clings to. And now, in the stillness with you, I feel you gently pulling me to look not with shame, but with honesty, not to be trapped there, but to be set free. Some of the shadows speak in the voice of fear. They remind me of the times I failed, of the moments I walked away from what was good, or let pride guide me when I should have paused. They whisper that I missed something I can never get back, that I am marked by decisions I made when I was lost, or broken, or just desperate for something that felt like love. I know you forgive, Lord, but sometimes I struggle to forgive myself. I carry the weight of what I allowed, what I tolerated, what I thought I needed, and deep down, I wonder if those pieces still define me in your eyes. Some of the shadows carry the face of people I trusted, people I opened my heart to, people who held my story but did not protect it. There are wounds I carry not because of what I did, but because of what was done to me. Words spoken that pierced deeper than knives. Promises broken with silence. Connections lost without closure. Lord, I know you saw it all. I know you were there in the hidden places where no one else could reach me. But I still feel the marks sometimes, like fingerprints left on a glass I never cleaned. I still flinch at certain memories. I still recoil from trust as if it might betray me again. And yet, even now, I sense that you are not asking me to forget these shadows. You are asking me to bring them into your light, to stop pretending they're gone, to stop shrinking when they whisper. You are not angry that I still remember. You are not frustrated that I still feel. You are inviting me to let you touch what has remained untouched for too long. You are inviting me to be brave enough to unhide, not so I can explain myself, but so I can be healed. Not so I can prove anything, but so I can finally stop running from the places that still ache when I am alone. Lord, I believe you are not afraid of my past. You are not limited by it. You do not see me as a collection of mistakes or missed chances. You see me through eyes of mercy, through the lens of redemption, through the promise of who I am becoming, not just where I have been. You do not define me by the pain that found me or the roads I wandered. You call me by name. You call me whole. You call me home. And I am learning, slowly, to believe you. So I bring these shadows to you, the ones that show up in my thoughts when I least expect them, the ones that influence how I love, how I protect myself, how I react when I am vulnerable. I do not want to be ruled by what hurt me. I do not want to make decisions out of fear or shame. I want to live freely. I want to walk in the present without dragging chains from the past. I want to believe that healing is not only possible, but promised. That you restore what was broken. That you redeem what was wasted. That you resurrect what once seemed dead and gone. There is no part of my story too dark for your light, no moment too messy for your grace, no scar too deep for your hand to reach. So I open the doors I have kept locked. I open the journals I stopped reading. I let you enter the rooms I kept you out of, because I was afraid of what you might find there. But now I know better. Now I know you walk in not with condemnation, but with compassion. You do not point fingers. You extend healing. You do not shame me. You sit with me. You do not demand that I forget. You simply offer to carry the weight. Lord, if these shadows still speak, let them speak only truth now. Let them remind me not of who I was, but of how far you have brought me. Let them become markers of grace, not chains of guilt. Let them testify to the strength you gave me to keep going when I wanted to give up. Let them speak not of failure, but of forgiveness, not of sorrow, but of survival. Let them echo with your voice, louder than their own, reminding me that nothing is wasted in your hands. Help me walk forward with open eyes, not haunted by what was, but anchored by what is. You are here. You are leading. And every shadow that once threatened to overwhelm me is now just a backdrop for the light you bring. I do not deny the pain anymore, but I will not bow to it either. I choose today to stand, not in denial, but in deliverance. I choose to let the past rest where it belongs in your mercy. I choose to let today be a new page, written not in fear, but in faith. I choose to trust that you are writing something beautiful, even from the broken parts. And if there are pieces of me still etching for your touch, I welcome you there. If there are corners of my heart still afraid to hope, I invite you in. If there are voices still whispering lies, I ask that your truth would rise louder. I am not who I used to be. I am not stuck where I was. I am becoming something new in your hands. So I keep walking with you, one breath at a time, one prayer at a time, through the shadows, into the light. Father, as I trace the threads of my past and let your light reach the places where shadows once ruled, another truth begins to rise in me. It is quieter than pain and softer than grief, but it carries a different kind of weight. It is the sound of your voice, the whisper I ignored, not because I hated it, not because I did not want to hear it, but because at the time, I was not ready to listen. I told myself I knew better. I convinced myself that silence meant permission. I mistook my own desires for divine direction. And now, looking back, I see how many moments you were calling me gently, faithfully, and I walked away. Lord, it is not easy to admit that I have heard you and chosen otherwise. It is not easy to look at the times when my own plans were louder than your prompting. I remember those moments, not with bitterness, but with quiet reverence, because even in my defiance, you were kind. Even when I turned away from what you whispered, you did not withdraw. You waited. You watched. You spoke again. And though I may have missed the path you first pointed me to, I know now that you never stopped trying to reach me. There were times when you stirred something in me, a hesitation, a nudge, a quiet unrest, and I brushed it off. I told myself it was just nerves, or fear, or overthinking. But now I know it was you, trying to protect me from what I could not see, trying to redirect me before I stepped into something I would later wish to escape. And even though I did not listen then, I want to listen now. I want to learn to recognize your whisper, not as a threat to my freedom, but as an invitation to something better, not as restriction, but as protection, not as denial, but as direction. God, I have often asked you to speak. I have pleaded for signs, begged for clarity, cried out for answers. But now I realize that it is not always your silence that keeps me from hearing. It is my noise, my insistence on getting what I want, my fixation on outcomes, my impatience with anything that takes longer than I planned. I have filled my life with so many voices, so many distractions, so many opinions, that your whisper became just one sound among many. And when it did not agree with what I already decided, I labeled it doubt. When it warned me to slow down, I called it hesitation. When it told me to wait, I called it fear. But you have been faithful. You have kept speaking, even when I did not deserve another word. You have kept leading, even when I strayed. And now I want to return to the quiet. I want to rediscover the sacredness of stillness. I want to live tuned into the subtle way you move, not always loud, not always dramatic, but always sure. I no longer want to ignore the gentle urgings that come when the world is quiet and my soul is still enough to notice. I want to respond the first time, not after the damage. I want to follow the first whisper, not wait for the storm. Father, help me to remember the moments when I heard you, even faintly, and chose another way, not so I can dwell in shame, but so I can recognize your grace that still met me on the other side. Help me to see that you did not give up on me because I made the wrong turn. You waited at the next crossroad. You made a new way through the detour. You built bridges where I burned paths. And you did it not because I earned it, but because you are love. A love that does not quit. A love that does not punish me for learning the hard way. A love that draws me back with gentleness, not force. I know now that I need more than answers. I need awareness. I need to be aware of the quiet ways you move. I need to notice the shift in atmosphere when peace fades and you are no longer leading in the direction I am walking. I need to recognize when I am trying to force something you never blessed. I need to hear you, not just when I am desperate, but when everything seems to be going fine. Because even comfort can be a distraction. Even ease can be misleading. Even open doors can be traps if they were never meant for me. So today, I ask for ears that hear you clearly, for a heart that responds to you quickly, for a mind that is not crowded with noise, but filled with discernment. I want to be the kind of person who trusts your whisper more than my own reasoning, who pauses when you say pause, even if everything in me wants to rush ahead, who moves when you say move, even if I feel unsure, who surrenders even the good things if they are not God things. I want to walk with you not just in need, but in daily obedience. I want to stay close enough that your whisper becomes the loudest voice I hear. Teach me to value your presence more than progress, to value obedience more than outcome, to value stillness over success. I do not want to ignore you anymore. I do not want to pray for guidance and then follow my own plan. I want to be led fully, even if it costs me control, even if it costs me timing, even if it costs me things I thought I needed. Trust that whatever you withhold, it is out of love, and whatever you ask me to let go of, it is because you are making space for something greater. Lord, thank you for every time you whispered, and I missed it, and still, you stayed. Thank you for not giving up when I did. Thank you for the gentle persistence of your voice. Thank you for not turning away even when I turned away from you. I receive your mercy today, not just for the mistakes I made, but for the moments I refused to listen. I receive your grace not as a past to ignore again, but as a new chance to respond. I am listening now. I am watching. I am willing. Speak again, Lord. Even if it is a whisper, especially if it is a whisper. I do not need lightning. I do not need signs in the sky. I need you. Just you. And whatever you speak next, I will not ignore. I will follow. I will trust. I will let your whisper shape the steps I take. God, now that I have opened my heart to hear again truly, there are moments playing through my mind that feel heavier than regret. They are the moments I thought you were silent, but now I understand you were answering me in a different way. You were not absent. You were closing a door, and I just did not want to see it that way. I called it disappointment. I called it confusion. I even called it failure. But you were trying to protect me from what I thought I wanted. You were whispering not this with a gentleness I mistook for denial. You were guiding me by gently shutting what I kept trying to force open. Father, I remember times when everything seemed aligned. The opportunity looked perfect. The people seemed right. The timing made sense. I stepped forward believing it had to be from you, because it came easily. But then, without warning, something shifted. The way ahead suddenly grew dim. What once felt certain began to unravel. The door I thought you had opened slowly began to close, not with a crash, but with a quiet resistance that I could not explain. And still, I pushed. I knocked louder. I prayed harder not for your will, but for my way. I asked you to bless what I had already decided to pursue. And when you did not, I called it a loss. But you were never being cruel. You were being kind. You saw what I could not. You knew where that path would lead. You knew what looked like favor was actually a detour. And even as I wrestled against the direction you were gently turning me away from, you never stopped being patient. You let the door close softly, as if to say, "This is not punishment. It is protection. This is not rejection. It is redirection." Lord, I am learning that not every closed door is an enemy. Sometimes it is your love in disguise. Sometimes it is your wisdom that withholds what I am not yet ready for, or what was never mine to begin with. I have cried over doors you closed, but today I want to thank you for them. Thank you for the relationships that ended before they could destroy me. Thank you for the jobs I did not get because they would have drained me. Thank you for the friendships that faded, the opportunities that slipped away, the plans that never happened. Thank you for every no that guarded me from a greater yes. It takes courage to trust a closed door. It takes faith to believe that the silence on the other side is still part of your goodness, and it takes surrender to stop knocking and start listening again. I want that kind of faith. Father, I want to be someone who does not define your love by how many doors swing open, but by how clearly you lead, even when the way turns unexpectedly. I want to learn to rest when you say no. I want to learn to pause when I feel resistance. I want to stop chasing answers where peace has already left. There have been times when the closing hurt more than I could admit, times when I questioned if I had failed you or if I had missed a sign. But what if that door was never mine? What if you allowed it to open just long enough to teach me how to release it? What if the closed door was never the end, but the beginning of learning to walk by faith and not by sight? You are not the kind of God who slams things shut in anger. You are the God who gently leads, who redirects with mercy, who says no because you have something better I cannot yet see. Help me recognize when it is you who is shutting the way. Help me stop wrestling with what is already fading. Help me release what I keep trying to revive. If you are not in it, I do not want it. Even if it once felt right, even if it almost worked, even if I imagined my future wrapped inside it. You are not the God of almost. You are the God of always. Always good. Always wise. Always leading. Even when you lead me away from what I once prayed for. Lord, I surrender the places in me that still grieve closed doors. I lay down the questions I have carried. Why did not it work out? Why did it end like that? Why did you allow it to come so close, only to take it away? I do not want to carry resentment into the next season. I do not want to view your leading through the lens of old disappointments. I want to walk with open hands, trusting that if something ends, it is because you are doing something new. And even if I do not yet see the new beginning, I trust that it will come in your time, in your way, in your grace. God, I ask you to shape my heart so that I do not cling to anything more tightly than I cling to you. Dante, let my desire for control keep me in places you have asked me to leave. Dante, let fear of the unknown trap me in what is no longer blessed. Give me the wisdom to know when to stay and the courage to walk away when you are calling me forward. I want to trust your no as much as I trust your yes. I want to follow your peace, not my pressure. If I must wait, let me wait with hope. If I must walk away, let me walk with peace. If I must begin again, let me begin without bitterness. You are not finished, even in closed places. You are still creating, even in doors that shut. You are still speaking, even in detours. You are still drawing the map. And every ending you allow is wrapped in the promise that nothing you have planned for me can be taken away. So I breathe deeply, letting go of what did not work. I stop knocking on what will not open. I choose to stand still and listen for your whisper once again. And if another door must close, I will not fear it, because you are not the door. I have not lost you. You are the shepherd, and as long as I follow you, I will never be lost. Lead me forward. Father, I am ready, even if it means walking through quiet hallways toward something I do not yet understand. I know you are already there, Lord, even as I begin to trust the doors you gently close. I feel another truth rise to the surface, one I have carried for longer than I realized. It is the H of spiritual thirst. Not because you have withheld water, but because I have wandered through too many deserts chasing mirages. I have made choices, so many choices, believing they would satisfy me. I have followed paths that promised fulfillment, but left me emptier than before. And now, after all the striving, all the decisions made out of urgency, all the chasing after what sparkled but did not sustain, I come to you parched and quiet, holding the dryness in my soul like an offering, do not know how to explain. Father, I did not mean to drift. I did not wake up and choose distance. But the small decisions added up, the little compromises that felt harmless, the moments I said yes to what looked easy instead of waiting for what was true. I told myself I was strong enough to handle it, that I could carry both obedience and self-will at the same time, that as long as I kept praying, it was okay to run in the direction I wanted. But the truth is, I stopped listening. I traded discernment for speed. I followed the crowd when I should have stayed still. And now I see that what I called freedom was often just restlessness in disguise. I drank from wells that looked refreshing, but were laced with anxiety. I filled my days with noise because silence scared me. I filled my hands with tasks because waiting made me feel small. I said yes to things I never prayed about. I committed to roles that drained me. I connected with people who never honored my soul. And still, I kept going, because slowing down felt like failure. But here in this stillness, I realize I am not weak for being empty. I am human, and my soul was never meant to thrive apart from you. God, I confess that I have tried to satisfy eternal thirst with temporary things. I have looked to accomplishments to tell me I matter. I have turned to approval to tell me I am enough. I have reached for comfort instead of courage, business instead of balance, control instead of surrender. And though I never said it out loud, part of me believed that I could build a meaningful life without fully depending on you. But what I built without you did not last. What I chased without you could not hold me. What I consumed without you left me hungrier than before. And now, I bring you this thirst, not a shallow desire for quick answers, but a deep longing for real connection. I do not want to run anymore. I do not want to keep sipping from sources that leave me anxious and disconnected. I want to drink from the well that never runs dry. I want to come back to the place where my soul remembers what peace feels like, where my spirit can breathe again, where being known by you means more than being seen by others. I want that quiet, steady restoration that only you can give, the kind that does not wear off when the world grows loud again. Father, I know that choices shape me. I know that every yes and every no carves something into my life. And I want to begin choosing from a place of presence, not pressure. I want to choose what brings peace, not just what brings attention. I want to choose what lasts, not just what moves fast. I want to learn how to discern again, not just what is good, but what is mine. I want to recognize when something drains me of joy and learn to walk away without guilt. I want to stop pouring myself out where you have not called me to be. Teach me how to choose well, not with fear, but with faith. Lord, I ask you to renew my spiritual appetite. Give me a hunger for what is holy. Stir my heart again for quiet moments with you. Let my soul crave your presence more than applause. Let me long for stillness more than status. Let my heart burn again with the kind of desire that can be quenched by anything but truth. I want to read your word and feel like it is speaking directly to me. I want to worship without needing a reason. I want to pray not because I have a list, but because I miss your voice. And when I feel tempted to run again, when the next appealing option presents itself, wrapped in excitement and ease, remind me of this place. Remind me of the desert. Remind me of the thirst that choices without you have left behind. Let me not return to what drained me. Let me not forget how empty success can feel when you are not in it. Let me not trade intimacy with you for the illusion of progress. I want you at the center of every decision. I want your voice to be the loudest in every crossroad. I want to follow not the flow, but the flame of your spirit, God. If I must walk through the desert again, let it be because you are leading me there, not because I wandered. If the path is dry, let it still be holy. If it is lonely, let it still be yours, because even in the wilderness, you provide. Even in barren places, you are enough. Even when I do not understand the terrain, I can trust the one who walks beside me. I no longer need to fear the silence. I no longer need to rush to fill every gap. You are not afraid of emptiness. You transform it. So I come to you today without demands. I bring you my awareness, not just from doing too much, but from choosing too quickly. I bring you my thirst, not as a complaint, but as a cry for more of you. More clarity, more closeness, more contentment. I know now that what I was looking for cannot be bought, cannot be earned, cannot be copied. It can only be received, and I open myself to receive it. Fill me again, Father, not with more things, but with more of you. Let every dry place in me become a well of worship. Let every rushed choice become a lesson in waiting. Let every parched moment become an invitation to trust. You are the water I have been chasing without knowing. You are the peace I could not find. You are the answer I kept overlooking. And now that I have found you here, in this still, sacred space, I do not want to leave. I want to stay close. I want to stay full. I want to stay surrendered. So wherever you lead, I will follow, not with striving, but with stillness, not with pressure, but with peace. Because you are enough. You have always been enough. Father, as I begin to learn that what I need cannot be chased or forced or built by my own hands, I find myself finally still. For so long, I equated movement with progress, speed with obedience, action with purpose. I kept going because slowing down felt unsafe, as if pausing would mean losing ground. But here, now, after the deserts and the dead ends, after the noise and the thirst, I sit still, and in this stillness, something begins to shift. It is not loud, it is not dramatic, but it is real. I hear you again, not in the thunder, but in the wind. God, I never realized how hard it is to be still until I tried. Everything inside of me wants to keep doing, fixing, reaching. My mind wanders, my heart races. I think of what needs to be done, who needs my attention, what I have left unfinished. But then, like the hush that follows a storm, I hear the sound of you drawing near in quietness. No demands. No pressure. Just presence. You are here. Not because I performed well enough to deserve you, but because stillness has always been the place where you do well. You are not in the chaos I created. You are not waiting at the end of my plans. You are here. Right here, in the soft breeze brushing past my spirit. You are not hiding. You are whispering. You are waiting for me to tune in, to turn away from the clutter I once thought was calling. You are showing me that your voice is clearest when I choose quiet. And I did not understand until now that stillness is not passive. It is sacred. It is an act of trust. A declaration that I do not need to chase what you have already promised, that I do not have to run to be worthy, that I can simply rest and still be led. Lord, in this space of silence, I realize how many times I prayed for direction, but never paused to listen. I cried out for answers, but filled the air with my own voice. I said, I wanted to hear you, but I kept moving before you could speak. I filled every blank space with noise, afraid that silence meant abandonment. But it does not. It never did. Silence is not the absence of you. It is the invitation to know you deeper, to wait without fear, to sit without agenda, to listen without interruption. There is something about stillness that reveals the truth, without the usual distractions. I see what I have ignored, the tiredness beneath my strength, the questions beneath my faith, the longings I tried to quiet with productivity. And yet, I also begin to see something else. I see you, not as a distant God waiting for me to prove myself, but as the one who sits with me in the quiet, the one who leans in, not when I shout, but when I finally stop trying to fill the silence. Teach me how to stay here longer. Teach me how to value this sacred pause. Let this not be just a moment of rest, but a rhythm for my life. Let stillness become a place I return to, not just when I am weary, because I have tasted how peaceful it is to be close to you. Let me not rush away from the quiet, because the world tells me there is more to do. Let me stay long enough to be filled, long enough to be reminded that what I need most is not found in the next breakthrough, but in this breath. Father, if I am to walk forward with wisdom, I must first learn how to wait. If I am to hear you clearly, I must first quiet what competes with you. If I am to live with peace, I must first choose to stop and breathe. So today, I lay down my hurry. I silence the pressure. I open my hands not to grasp, but to receive. And what I feel in return is not an answer, but a presence, not a plan, but a peace. You are here, and that is enough. In the stillness, I hear things I once missed, the rise and fall of my own breath, the weight I have been carrying in my shoulders, the silent hope I was afraid to name. But more than anything, I hear you reminding me that I was never meant to figure it all out. I was meant to follow, not with panic, but with peace. Not with rushing, but with trust. I was meant to slow down enough to feel again, to believe again, to remember that I am safe with you, even when I do not know what is next. Lord, I ask you to help me protect this stillness, to return to it often, to build my life not around the next demand, but around moments like this, moments where my soul finally exhales, where I do not have to impress anyone, where I do not have to prove anything, where I can sit in the presence of the one who knows me, loves me, and leads me. Let the wind of your spirit carry away the noise that lingers. Let it sweep through the clutter of my thoughts. Let it make room for what is real, for what is holy, for what lasts. God, I know now that stillness is not weakness. It is strength in disguise. It is where intimacy grows, where faith deepens, where healing begins. It is where I remember that I am more than what I do, that I am not behind, that I am not forgotten, that I am not alone. So I will keep coming back to this place. I will keep seeking the quiet where you speak. I will keep learning how to hear again, not the roar of the world, but the whisper of heaven. And if I forget again, if I begin to chase and strive and hurry, pull me back gently. Call me back with the wind. Nudge me towards stillness. Remind me that every answer I need begins here with your nearness, with your breath against my fear, with your hand steadying my heart. I do not need to run to be found. I do not need to move to be held. I only need to sit, still and willing, and let your voice rise above the rest. That is where I hear you best. That is where I find myself again. That is where I remember who I am. Yours. Always yours. Father, now that I have finally grown still enough to hear the gentle movement of your presence, I feel something deeper begin to take root, this invitation to trust you without a visible path. It is quiet, but undeniable. There is no dramatic sign, no detailed plan, no bold line drawn in front of me. Just a soft knowing that you are asking me to follow you forward without seeing the full way ahead. And while my heart leans in, there is also fear, because I have always found comfort in knowing what comes next. I have always wanted a map, but all I have is you, Lord. There is something sacred about walking without a script. It exposes my need for control. for predictability, for guarantees. And yet you are gently asking me to trade those things for something better: dependence, surrender, faith. You are reminding me that clarity is not always the beginning of obedience. Sometimes clarity only comes after I take the step. And so I stand here now, not asking you to lay out the entire journey, but simply to hold my hand as I begin. I look back on moments where I delayed obedience because I could not calculate the outcome. Times when I hesitated, not because I did not love you, but because I was afraid to move without full certainty. I wanted confirmation before commitment. But you have never promised that kind of safety. You promised presence. You promised to be my guide, not my pace. You promised light for the step, not the whole staircase. And maybe that is how you grow my faith, not by explaining everything, but by asking me to trust you more than I trust my understanding. God, I confess that I often want a destination more than a journey. I want conclusions, not process. But you are teaching me that the real treasure is not the end, it is in the walking with you. It is in the unseen mornings where I choose to show up. It is in the quiet yes I give you when no one else knows what I am surrendering. It is in the risk of obedience that does not make sense yet, and that is the place I want to live now, not in fear, not in overthinking, but in faith. There are choices before me I do not yet know how to make, possibilities I feel unqualified to navigate, doors I am unsure whether to walk through. But instead of analyzing them endlessly, I bring them to you. I bring you the tension, the unknowns, the dreams I barely whisper. I ask you not to give me every answer, but to make me attentive to your peace. Let your peace become my compass. Let it rise when I am moving in the right direction. Let it hold me back when I am drifting away from what is best. And Lord, if you choose to lead me slowly, help me not to rush ahead. If you choose to guide me one decision at a time, help me not to resent the pace. Teach me to see the beauty in the unfolding. Teach me to celebrate each small yes instead of waiting for the big reveal. I do not want to miss what you are doing in the middle, because I am too focused on the end. I want to be present here in the uncertainty, in the in-between, in the process where my heart learns to trust even without visible proof. Father, I ask you to steady my spirit when questions rise louder than confidence. When doubt knocks on the door of my mind, when others have clearer plans and I feel behind, remind me that I am not in a race, that I am not required to compare my calling, that my pace is not too slow if it is in step with you, that delay does not mean denial, that the unseen path is not a sign of abandonment, but evidence that you want me close enough to hear every whisper as I walk. There is something beautiful about needing you like this, about not being able to move without your voice, about not relying on my own vision, but leaning into yours. I never thought uncertainty could feel holy, but here I am, unsure of what is next, yet grounded in the one who goes before me. And if all I know today is that you are with me, then that is enough. I will trust you to build the road under my feet as I take each step. God, help me to release the pressure to figure it all out. Help me to stop waiting for permission when you have already given peace. Help me to stop demanding signs when you have already given your presence. I do not want to be paralyzed by what I do not know. I want to move in response to what I do know, that you are good, that you are faithful, and that you are leading me even now. Let that truth anchor me when nothing else feels certain. Let me wake each day with a soft heart and an open spirit. Let me rise not with anxiety, but with anticipation, not because I know what will happen, but because I know you will be in it. Let me walk through unknowns with joy. Let me choose obedience, not out of obligation, but out of intimacy. Because the deeper I walk with you, the less I need to see everything clearly. I begin to realize that walking with you is the clarity, that having you beside me is the answer I have been seeking. Father, if I ever long again for certainty more than closeness, bring me back to this moment. Bring me back to this quiet resolve, where I choose to trust even with trembling hands. Remind me that maps fade, but your word remains, that blueprints change, but your promise never shifts, that the path I cannot see is still held firmly in your hands. And when others ask me why I chose this way, when they wonder why I walked a road that was not marked out, let my life testify not to my strength, but to your leading. Let them see that I did not follow a plan, I followed a person. And that person was you. That I did not need every answer, I only needed the next step. And that each step taught me how to love you deeper. So wherever you lead next, I will follow. Not because the path is easy, not because the destination is known, but because the one who goes with me is trustworthy. And that is the only certainty I need. Father, now that I have accepted that the path ahead may never be fully mapped, I feel you gently drawing me closer, not to understand more, but to move with you anyway. And as I sit with the truth that you are enough, I realize there is still one place inside me holding back. It is not that I do not believe you. It is not that I do not want to follow. It is that I am afraid, not of you, but of the unknown weight that comes with the next step. That one step I have avoided. The one I keep walking around, hoping maybe you will change the subject or move me in another direction. But you have not, and now I know it is time. Lord, you are not pushing me. You never have. You are simply waiting, patient, tender, steady. You know my heart. You know the layers of fear that built up over time. You know what this step costs me. It is not about distance or danger. It is about surrender. It is about finally doing what I have talked myself out of too many times. It is about releasing the outcome I tried so hard to control. And maybe that is why it scares me, because this time, obedience means no backup plan. Just trust. I wish I could say I am brave, but right now, I am not. I wish I could say I am ready, but I only feel willing. And maybe that is enough. Maybe that is what you are asking for, not a polished performance, just a soft yes. A quiet choice to move forward even when everything inside me wants to stay where it is safe. And if I have learned anything about you, it is that you do not abandon those who walk with trembling feet. You walk with us. You match our pace. You catch us when our legs give out. You steady us when the fear starts to speak louder than faith. God, help me to take this step, not with perfection, but with presence. Help me to stop analyzing everything that could go wrong. Help me to silence the voice that says, I am not enough, not ready, not strong. That voice is not yours. Yours is the one that whispers courage into small acts of obedience. That reminds me I am not walking alone. That tells me it is okay to feel afraid and still move anyway. That tells me you will meet me on the other side. And even in the middle, you will carry what I cannot. Maybe this step is a conversation I have avoided. Maybe it is letting go of something I once loved. Maybe it is beginning something new when I still feel unfinished. Or maybe it is choosing healing when staying broken would be easier. Whatever it is, you know what it costs me. And yet you still ask for it not to take from me, but to give me something better. Not to strip me, but to strengthen me. Not to expose my weakness, but to show me where your grace meets me in the gap. Lord, I know now that faith is not about waiting for fear to disappear. It is about choosing to trust you more than I trust the fear. It is about believing that your presence is bigger than the voices that say, I will fail. It is about remembering that every time you have asked me to move, you have also promised to go with me, and you have never broken that promise. Not once. Even when I hesitated, even when I doubted, even when I delayed, you stayed. And now you are asking me again not to run, not to rush, just to take one step. So I ask for the grace to do just that, to move even if my voice shakes, to trust even when my heart pounds, to follow even when I do not see the next turn. I know this step matters not because it is grand, but because it is mine. It is the one you have set before me. It is the place where my obedience meets your purpose. And if I keep waiting for courage to feel like confidence, I may never move. But if I move with what I have faith the size of a whisper, I know you will honor it. Remind me, God, that progress does not always look like running. Sometimes it looks like standing up when I have been sitting in fear too long. Sometimes it looks like saying yes to something I can't explain yet. Sometimes it looks like showing up even when no one claps. Sometimes it is small and quiet and unseen by others, but it changes everything inside me. And that is holy. That is sacred ground. That is the kind of step that shifts atmospheres. Not because it is loud, but because it is real. Let me not miss this moment. Let me not wait for a guarantee when you have already given me peace. Let me not hesitate when you are saying move. I do not want to get stuck in the space between hearing and obeying. I do not want to waste another day convincing myself that comfort is safer than calling. I want to live boldly, even if boldness starts with a shaky breath and a quiet heart. I want to walk into the unknown, knowing I am held. I want to believe that what feels risky in my hands is secure in yours. And when I do take that step, Lord, let it be with awareness. Let me see you in every detail. Let me feel you in the quiet places of the journey. Let me mark that moment not with fear, but with faith. Let that step become a testimony not of my strength, but of your nearness. Let it remind me for the rest of my life that courage is not something I summon. It is something I receive. It comes in waves, in whispers, in small beginnings that you bless with holy power. So if today is the day, let me rise with grace. Let me stretch beyond the edges of what I know. Let me trust that you are not calling me to walk blindly, but to walk closely. And if I look down and see nothing under my feet, remind me that faith is not built on what I see, it is built on who I follow. And I will follow you, even here, even now, even when I feel unsteady. Because with you, every step matters. And this one, the one I feared to take, might just lead to something more beautiful than I imagined. Lord, after taking the step I feared to take, there is a quiet I did not expect. No burst of applause, no immediate change, no confirmation that the earth moved beneath me. Just this stillness, this sense that something shifted inside, even if nothing has visibly changed around me. And maybe that is the miracle. Not the loud moment, but the slow one. Not the fireworks, but the steady unfolding of something deeper. Something lasting. You are showing me that not all breakthroughs are sudden. Some are slow, like seeds taking root in the dark before they bloom in the light. Father, I have been conditioned to measure impact by speed, to believe that if something is not fast, it is not effective, that if growth does not show up quickly, it must not be happening at all. But you are patient. You move in rhythms I can't rush. You build what lasts, not what impresses. And now, you are asking me to stay here in this middle place where faith grows not in leaps, but in inches. Where transformation is quiet, where miracles move like morning mist. Slowly rising, gently forming, unnoticed by most until everything is changed. I confess, Lord, that I often crave the dramatic. I want answers that come all at once. I want clarity to snap into place like a perfect puzzle. I want to see fruit the moment I plant the seed. But you are not rushed by my expectations. You do not prove yourself on my timeline. And though I struggle to accept it, I am learning that the most powerful works of your hand are often invisible at first. I feel them more than I see them. I sense them before I understand them. They unfold in silence, in surrender, in the hidden places where only you can go. God, teach me to honor the slow miracle. The kind of healing that does not happen overnight, but over months, maybe years. The kind of growth that is not loud, but rooted. The kind of change that starts beneath the surface, transforming my responses, my desires, my pace. Show me that becoming whole is not a race. It is a process. And you are not in a hurry with me. You are not disappointed that I am still unfolding. You are not comparing me to someone else's finish line. You are simply staying near, watering the dry places, pruning the broken branches, shaping me gently, steadily, into the person you saw from the beginning. There are days when I wonder if I am moving forward at all, days when progress feels impossible. But even in those moments, you are working. Even when I cannot feel it, you are not distant. Even when I do not see results, you are planting something eternal. And I trust that what you begin, you will bring to completion, not by force, not by pressure, but by grace, moment by moment, step by step. Father, I want to become someone who notices small beginnings, someone who does not dismiss the early signs of growth just because they are quiet, someone who celebrates the shift in perspective, the softening of a heart, the release of an old habit, even if no one else sees it. I want to be someone who watches for the movement beneath the stillness, who gives thanks for the unseen roots, who does not dig up what you are still growing just because it has not bloomed yet. You are teaching me that the miracle is not just in what happens, but in who I become while waiting, in how I learn to stay instead of striving, in how I learn to listen instead of forcing solutions, in how I learn to trust your silence as much as I trust your voice. These are the miracles I might have missed had you moved faster. These are the gifts I now treasure, because they were born in slow places. And Lord, if I ever grow weary again, if I start to believe the lie that nothing is happening just because it is quiet, remind me of the vineyard. Remind me of the roots beneath the surface. Remind me of the rain that fell when no one was watching. Remind me that the miracle is still unfolding, and it does not need my pace to be real. It only needs my patience, my presence, my permission to let you write the story in your way. I surrender my need for instant resolution. I let go of the pressure to prove that something is changing. I trust that you are forming me, even in the quietest moments. I choose to believe that the miracle is not far off, not delayed, not denied, but already in motion. I choose to be faithful in the ordinary, to keep showing up to the process, to keep trusting the timing I do not control. And I ask that you help me find joy here, not just in the outcome, but in the waiting itself. Give me eyes to see the miracle of each breath, each morning, each uncelebrated act of obedience. Give me a heart that rests even when nothing feels remarkable. Give me peace that does not depend on progress I can measure. And give me the wisdom to understand sometimes the most sacred miracles are the ones no one else notices but you. Lord, if you choose to move slowly, I will stay with you. I will not rush ahead. I will not demand shortcuts. I will not trade depth for speed. I will walk with you at the pace of grace, at the rhythm of redemption, at the cadence of compassion, because what you are doing in me matters more than how quickly it gets done. And even if it takes longer than I thought, even if the road curves more than I expected, I will stay. I will trust. I will keep walking with you, and I will call it holy. Every moment, every small change, every quiet yes, every unnoticed victory, every inch of ground gained in silence, because with you, nothing is wasted. With you, even slow miracles carry eternal weight. With you, I am never standing still, I am being transformed. God, as I walk at the pace of your grace and learn to trust the miracle I cannot yet see, I begin to notice something I once overlooked: the quiet signs you have been sending all along. They are not loud, not staged, not obvious to anyone but me, but in the silence, in this still, surrendered space, they speak volumes. And I realize that while I waited for a voice from heaven, you were leaving breadcrumbs of love in the margins of my ordinary days. You have been guiding me, not with thunder, but with threads of peace and gentle nudges that often went unnoticed. Father, I used to think you only moved through the extraordinary. I waited for the dramatic, the undeniable, the supernatural. I wanted clouds to part, doors to fly open, circumstances to shift instantly. And when that did not happen, I assumed you were distant. I mistook your subtlety for absence. But now, in this rhythm of listening and slowing down, I see you differently. I see how faithful you have been in small moments. I see how your signs were not always meant to stop me in my tracks, but to lead me quietly, consistently, toward you. It was in the moment I almost gave up, but did not. In the smile from a stranger, when I needed to feel seen. In the scripture that showed up twice in 1 week. In the song that played at just the right time. In the delayed answer that turned out to be protection. In the closed opportunity that made room for something better. All of it. Small signs that seemed insignificant on their own, but together they formed a path. A quiet trail of grace that reminded me I was never forgotten. Never abandoned. Never walking alone. Lord, help me pay attention. Teach me to notice not just what is loud, but what is layered. Help me recognize that your voice can sound like stillness. That your leading can look like a conversation, a moment of peace, a sudden clarity that arrives after weeks of questions. Let me not dismiss what feels ordinary, because so often you move through what others miss. And if I am not listening, I will overlook the very thing you placed in front of me to guide my next step. Give me spiritual eyes, Father eyes that are not distracted by the chaos of the world, but tuned to the frequency of heaven. Eyes that notice divine patterns in everyday places. Eyes that catch the shift in atmosphere when you are trying to get my attention. I do not want to keep asking for signs and miss the ones you are already giving. I do not want to keep waiting for the obvious and overlook the gentle whispers that are already answering my prayer. There have been times I walked right past your guidance. Not because I did not want to follow you, but because I did not know how to look deeper. I was too caught up in outcomes to notice the invitations. Too consumed with control to appreciate the details, but you kept sending signs anyway. And now, I want to be someone who lives with open eyes and a soft heart, someone who reads between the lines of life and finds you waiting there. God, show me how to see meaning in the mundane. Show me that a quiet morning can hold sacred instruction. That a lingering thought can be a prompting. That a closed door might be your hand redirecting me in love. Let me not ignore the way peace rises when I pray about something, or how unrest settles in when I push toward what is not mine. Let me stop calling it coincidence when it is really your care. Let me stop explaining away the very thing that has been guiding me all along. And when I am unsure if what I am sensing is from you, give me discernment. Let your spirit confirm what is true. Let peace accompany your direction, even if it leads through the unfamiliar. Let wisdom walk beside me like a friend, reminding me that not all signs come with certainty, but many come with clarity. And clarity, even in small doses, is often more than enough to move forward in trust. Father, I know you are not trying to confuse me. You are not hiding behind puzzles or riddles. You are not leaving me to figure it all out on my own. You are teaching me to slow down, to tune in, to walk closely enough that I do not need billboards. I just need breath, just need to stay near, just need to recognize when my soul feels settled, or when something tightens within, warning me to pause. This is how you speak when I learn to listen not just with ears, but with awareness. So now, when I open my eyes each day, I will ask you to help me see, not just the tasks, but the traces of you woven into my routine, the way a sunrise calms my heart, the way a phrase lingers in my spirit, the way a sudden sense of peace floods in when I consider something I have been afraid to do. These are not random. They are reminders. These are not fleeting. They are sacred. These are not background noise. They are invitations to lean in, to follow the unseen hand that has never led me astray. Lord, I do not need dramatic proof to believe you are here. I just need to be present, to stay connected, to remain aware of how intricately you involve yourself in the details of my life. Let my awareness of you be constant, even in silence. Let my gratitude be specific, even when the answers feel vague. Let my heart remain soft enough to catch what others miss. And when I am unsure, when I feel stuck, when the way feels unclear again, remind me to go back not to a formula, but to you, to the last moment I felt peace, to the last sign that carried your voice, to the last place I sensed your nearness and knew, without doubt, that you were guiding me. You are not only the God of grand gestures, you are the God of subtle shifts, the one who speaks through wind, through wonder, through stillness, the one who marks my path with signs wrapped in grace. And now that I see them, I will not forget. I will follow. I will listen. I will believe that even the quietest signs are enough when they come from you. Because your silence is never empty. It is full of direction, waiting to be received. And I am finally ready to see it. Father, now that I have begun to notice the subtle signs you have placed along the quiet paths, I feel something new beginning to form within me, not just a fleeting hope, but a foundation, not just emotion stirred by a morning prayer, but something weightier and stronger, something lasting. It is trust, quiet, steady, and alive, not the kind born out of certainty, but the kind forged in stillness, a trust that is not built in a moment, but brick by brick, day by day, through whispers, delays, and divine repetitions. Lord, I used to think trust had to be instant, that I should wake up one day and suddenly have unshakable faith, that if I really believed, I would not waver or ask again. But you are showing me that trust is not built like a tower rising in a single day. It is built more like a home, one stone at a time, every moment of surrender laid gently next to the last. Trust is not proven in loud declarations, but in daily decisions, in how I respond when fear rises, in how I pause to pray instead of panic, in how I remember what you have done, even when I cannot see what you are doing. I am learning to build my trust with you through consistency, not perfection, I used to wait for a surge of confidence before I moved, but now I understand consistency builds what emotion cannot. When I show up to meet you in quiet even when I do not feel inspired, that builds trust. When I say yes to small things even when they feel insignificant, that builds trust. When I wait when I would rather run, when I speak truth even when my voice shakes, when I release control inch by inch, that is where the real foundation forms. God. I want a faith that does not collapse under pressure. I want a trust that is not swayed by storms, not because the wind won T blow, but because my roots are deep. I want to be the kind of person who trusts you not just in victory, but in vulnerability, not just when doors open, but when they stay shut, not just when the path is clear, but when the fog is thick and I can only see one step. You are worthy of that kind of trust, not because of what you do for me, but because of who you are. You are steady. You are kind. You do not rush the process. You do not shame me for growing slowly. And every time I return to you, every time I choose prayer over panic, every time I lean into your presence instead of my own plans, I am adding another brick to the trust we are building together. It is not flashy. No one else may see it, but you do, and you delight in it. Lord, help me keep showing up to the process, even when I feel like nothing is changing. Help me remember that trust is not always a feeling, it is a decision to stay when the emotions fade, to stay when the answers are delayed, to stay when I feel unseen, to stay rooted in you when everything else pulls me to rely on myself. I want to live with the kind of faith that holds on, not because everything is easy, but because I have decided you are enough. Let my trust grow deeper through repetition. Let it grow through silence. Let it grow when I pray the same thing again and again, and you meet me with the same gentle presence. Let it grow when I rehearse your promises, not because I doubt them, but because I need to remind my heart that you have not changed. Let it grow in the discipline of remembering, in writing down what you have done, in recounting the moments you showed up, in speaking aloud the truth I know even when I do not feel it. Father, I ask you to help me build this trust not as a reaction to crisis, but as a rhythm of life. I do not want to treat you like an emergency exit. I want you to be my first turn, not my last resort. I want to be anchored in you before the storm, not just during it. And I know this kind of relationship does not appear out of nowhere. It grows through time, through devotion, through practice. So I give you my time. I give you my devotion. I give you my daily yes, even when it feels small. Let my prayers become the mortar between the bricks. Let my worship become the roof that shelters me in the hard days. Let my quiet obedience become the floor beneath my feet. Let each step I take with you become a wall that shields me when fear tries to break in. And let your word be the frame that holds it all together, true, strong, unshakable. Build in me not just belief, but trust, not just knowledge, but intimacy, not just moments of faith, but a life that reflects it. Lord, if trust wavers again, if doubt creeps in when I thought I had moved past it, do not let me spiral into shame. Instead, Help me return to the foundation we have already laid. Remind me of the bricks already set in place. Remind me that I do not start over, I keep building. That you are not dismayed by my moments of weakness. That you are the master builder, patient and precise, not rushing me, not abandoning me, not surprised by my hesitation. You know I am human. You shape me from the dust, and yet you still choose to build something eternal inside of me. So here I am again, offering today as another brick. Another layer, another small step in a long walk of trust. I do not know what will come tomorrow. I do not know how many more days will feel like waiting. But I know you will be in each one. You will be here with me, brick by brick, strengthening my trust, stretching my faith, teaching me how to rest in what is already true, even when I do not see the fruit yet. I will not rush this construction. I will not curse the slow progress. I will not compare the walls you are building in me to the ones you are building in others. I will stay on my plot of earth. I will keep laying stone after stone with my prayers, my choices, my quiet surrender, because I believe that in time, it will stand tall not because I forced it, but because I stayed faithful, not because I built it fast, but because I built it with you, and with you. Everything holds. Everything matters. Everything becomes strong in time. Lord, in the same quiet way that yesterday's final thoughts just dissolved into today's breath, I come to you again, heart lifted like a fragile branch, reaching for the warmth of dawn. The stillness that followed the last moment has now become the space for this one. And in that delicate transition, I sense you holding me in the same way you hold the morning light softly, fully, without demand. You have not moved. You were with me in the still hush of sleep, and are with me now, even as my soul stretches and wakes. Father, I step into this hour, not just as one seeking direction, but as one seeking nearness, not just answers, but awareness, because what I crave more than anything is the deep knowing that you are here and that I am not alone in this sacred unfolding of another day. There is so much I do not control, and I am learning that control was never the goal. Today, instead of clinging tightly, I open my hands to your rhythm. I breathe in with trust and exhale the need to force outcomes. I know you are already in the spaces I fear. You are in the details I worry over, the conversations I rehearse, the places where I feel uncertain or unseen. You are in every space, filling what feels empty with your unseen presence, wrapping my unknowns in the certainty of your love. God, let that truth take root in me deeper than fear. Let it sink below the surface of what my emotions scream and anchor itself into the still center where you always are. On days when I feel unsteady, let that be the truth I lean on. On days when I wake with heaviness or anxiety, be the grounding piece I return to, not as an idea, but as a person. Be my still point, my refuge in movement, my calm in the chaos I cannot yet name. Father, today I give you my mind. Shape it with clarity and compassion. If my thoughts try to wander toward dread or judgment, pull them gently back into alignment with your grace. Teach me to think in ways that bring life, to filter all that I see through the lens of your heart, not through my old fears or wounds. I do not want to carry the weight of overthinking. I want to carry the ease of trust. And when I forget, remind me with gentleness that you are patient with my becoming. I give you my words, too, every sentence I speak today. Let it be wrapped in kindness, even in frustration. Help me pause long enough to remember the one in front of me carries battles I cannot see. Help me build, not tear down. Help me speak healing, not harm. Let my tone carry warmth, not coldness. Let my silence carry understanding, not distance. And when I fall short, and I will let your mercy lift me without shame. Lord, I give you my schedule. Rearrange what needs rearranging. Interrupt me if you must, if a delay is the doorway to divine timing. I want to see it that way. If an inconvenience is really an invitation to grow, give me the grace to embrace it. Keep me from idolizing productivity. Let me value people more than plans, presence more than performance. Let me see you in the pauses as much as in the purpose. I give you my body. Help me treat it as a temple, not as a burden. Give me energy when I need it, but also give me permission to rest. Let me not resent my limits, but see them as holy boundaries that protect the sacred. Help me breathe deeply. Help me walk slowly enough to notice beauty. Help me listen to my body when it speaks not with criticism, but with care. Teach me to honor the physical as much as the spiritual, to see wholeness as a journey that begins with love. God, I give you my relationships. Be in my conversations, my texts, my thoughts about others. When I want to withdraw, pull me into connection. When I want to control, teach me surrender. Let me love without fear and listen without defensiveness. Let me see others as you see them, worthy of time, patience, forgiveness, and grace. Let me be quick to apologize, quick to forgive, and even quicker to see the good in those around me. Let me carry peace into every room I enter today. Father, I give you my weaknesses, the parts of me that still struggle, still ache, still doubt. You are not surprised by them. You do not flinch when I am messy. You do not withdraw when I feel ashamed. Instead, you come closer. You remind me that brokenness is not disqualification, is the space you fill. So today I want to pretend. I will be honest with you and honest with myself. And in that truth, I trust you will meet me, not with condemnation, but with comfort. Lord, be my strength where I am weak. Be my wisdom where I am lost. Be my calm where I am anxious. Be my light where I feel confused. Be my song where I am heavy. Be my reminder that I am not what I fear I am yours. And that is enough. Even now, I hear the world waking outside my window. The sounds of movement, of life beginning again. Let this be my reminder that today is a gift, that breath is a miracle, that even in repetition, there is renewal, that even in what feels mundane, you are quietly building something sacred. God, help me choose joy even when it feels inconvenient. Help me choose grace even when I feel frustrated. Help me choose presence even when distraction seems easier. Let today not be about perfection, but about connection. Let me be fully here, fully open, fully yours. I trust that you go before me, preparing paths I cannot yet see. I believe that even in the waiting, you are working. Even in the silence, you are speaking. Even in the stillness, you are moving. And so I step forward not because I have all the answers, but because I have you. Let that be my peace. Let that be my courage. Let that be my song as the light of this new day stretches across the horizon and touches every corner of my being. Father, as the light continues to stretch and gently unfold across this new day, I carry with me the quiet assurance that your presence is not only near, but woven into every breath I take. The peace that settled into my soul yesterday still lingers, like a soft echo of your faithfulness, and I receive it again not as something I must earn, but as something you freely give. You are not only the author of beginnings, but also the keeper of each unfolding moment, and I place this moment into your hands with full trust. You have never rushed me. In a world that demands speed and performance, you remain the gentle whisper reminding me that slowness is sacred, that transformation is not born of pressure, but of presence. So even now, as the world beckons with lists and responsibilities, I choose stillness again. I choose to pause before I proceed, to listen before I speak, to be before I do. Because I have found that life with you is not measured by how much I accomplish, but by how present I am with you in the process. Lord, I invite you into the rhythms of this day, into the quiet and the noise, into the moments I anticipate and the ones I cannot yet see. Be the melody beneath the mundane. Be the spark in every conversation. Be the strength when fatigue begins to whisper. Let everything I touch today carry a trace of your kindness, a reflection of your heart, a whisper of your grace. I ask you now to anchor my thoughts in what is true. So often, my mind wanders toward fear or comparison, caught in loops that rob me of joy and distort my perception. But you are the one who renews my mind, not with empty affirmations, but with truth that pierces through every lie I have believed. When I feel like I am not enough, remind me that your sufficiency covers me. When I feel unseen, remind me that your eyes never look away. When I feel overwhelmed, remind me that your presence does not shrink in the face of my struggle. Father, refine my inner dialogue. Let the way I speak to myself mirror the way you speak to me with gentleness, patience, and compassion. Replace harshness with hope. Replace shame with mercy. Replace self-criticism with the steady assurance that I am being shaped, not discarded. Remind me that growth is not linear, and that healing does not follow a schedule, that you are as present in my stumbles as you are in my triumphs. Let me extend that same grace to others, that I might love not with conditions, but with the freedom you model. God, help me to notice beauty today, not just the obvious wonders, but the subtle ones, the way sunlight glints through the window, the sound of water drifting through a hallway, the way someone's eyes soften when they feel understood. Let me be moved by these glimpses of goodness, not because they are rare, but because they are reminders of how you are constantly revealing yourself through creation, through people, through every act of love and kindness. Let me not miss you in the details. Let me not rush past the sacred in pursuit of the spectacular. Open my eyes to the miracle of ordinary moments, a shared meal, a quiet pause, a simple act of service. Let me walk through this day with eyes wide open and a heart that is tender enough to feel what matters. Lord, I surrender my expectations. So often, I hold tight to how I think things should unfold. I build scenarios in my mind and then grow frustrated when they do not play out the way I imagined. But today, I release my grip. I loosen my plans. I open my heart to the better things you have in store. Even if they come wrapped in unexpected packaging, I trust that even detours are not wasted in your hands. Even interruptions can carry blessing. Even disappointments can be divine redirection. Teach me to hold hope without agenda, to believe in goodness without demanding that arrive in a specific way. Let me rest in the knowledge that you are always working. Even when I cannot trace the thread, let faith rise not because I see the outcome, because I trust the one who holds it. Father, give me discernment today. In a world filled with so many voices, help me recognize yours above them all. Let me not be swayed by the loudest opinions or the most persistent fears, but grounded in the quiet wisdom of your Spirit. When I face decisions big or small, grant me clarity that comes from stillness, not from anxiety. Help me respond rather than react. Lead me in the way that is right, even if it is not easy, even if it requires patience or courage or surrender. I give you my hands today. Let them be instruments of care. Let them reach where there is need. Soothe where there is pain. Build where there is brokenness. Let my hands speak when words fall short. Let them carry blessing into spaces that have only known burden. Whether I am writing, lifting, holding, giving, or simply resting, let my actions reflect the gentle power of love made real. And I give you my heart again. You know its hidden corners, its quiet longings, its silent aches. You know where it has been bruised, where it still questions, where it still hopes. I trust you to care for it tenderly, not to fix it in haste, but to tend it in love, to shape it in ways that make space for joy, for depth, for resilience. Let my heart not be guarded out of fear, but open in trust. Let it not grow weary in waiting, but deepen in wonder. Let it not shrink in pain, but expand in compassion. God, as I step further into this day, let every breath be a prayer. Let every moment be an offering. Let every encounter be a chance to embody grace. Let every challenge be a classroom for growth. Let every pause be a sanctuary where I meet you again and again. And as light continues its quiet ascent, and the world awakens in layers, let my soul rise with it not in haste, but in hope. Let me walk slowly enough to recognize sacredness in every step, to hear your whisper in every silence, to feel your nearness in every heartbeat. You are not distant. You are here, in this air, in this hour, in this heart. And that truth alone is enough to carry me forward. Lord, as the hush of morning continues to stretch into the edges of my day, I find myself longing not for certainty, but for closeness. The kind that lingers quietly, like warmth resting on the skin, unseen yet undeniable. What I seek now is not more answers, but a deeper awareness of you, of your presence that surrounds me like air, holding all things even when I do not understand how. In the stillness of this hour, I remember again that peace does not come from knowing what is ahead, but from knowing you are already there. With each breath I draw, I step further into this day, not carrying it alone, but walking with you. And though the world around me may rush and pull, may shout and scatter, I choose to move differently. I choose presence over performance, grace over striving, quiet strength over loud ambition. Because in the rhythms of your heart, I have found my true pace, not hurried, not desperate, but held. God, today I ask for courage, not the kind that demands attention, but the kind that remains steady in unseen places. Courage to show up when I feel unseen. Courage to keep loving when I feel stretched. Courage to keep believing when results are delayed. Courage to be soft in a world that tells me hardness is safer. Teach me that real courage often looks like staying, listening, forgiving, waiting, beginning again. Let my strength be gentle. Let my boldness be kind. Let my bravery be laced with compassion. Help me remember that every act of faithfulness, no matter how small, ripples out beyond what I can measure. That a word of encouragement, a moment of patience, a decision made in integrity, these are not wasted. These are seeds. And you are the faithful gardener who brings life from what is sown in trust. I do not have to see the fruit today. I simply have to be faithful to the planting. Lord, let my eyes not only look ahead, but also look around. Help me see the people near me, not just their faces, but their hearts. Help me pause long enough to notice weariness behind a smile, or hope behind hesitation. Let me not assume, but ask. Let me not rush, but stay. Let me not speak to be heard, but listen to understand. And when I do speak, let my words be full of light, not merely pleasant, but healing, not just agreeable, but true. Let them carry weight, not because they are loud, but because they are rooted in love. Father, I place my relationships before you, not just the easy ones, but the strained ones too. You know where there is distance, where misunderstandings linger like fog, where words have wounded and silence has deepened. I ask you to move in those spaces gently, wisely, deeply. Soften what has grown hard. Restore what has been lost. Show me where I need to take the first step, offer the first apology, extend the first invitation. Let reconciliation be more important than pride. Let healing be more important than being right. Teach me to forgive, not once, but as often as it takes, not because the hurt was small, but because the grace I have received is great. Show me that forgiveness does not excuse, but frees, that it loosens the chains around my own heart, just as much as it loosens those around others. Let me be a person who holds no grudges, harbors no bitterness, and carries no debts, only mercy. God, I ask for clarity, not the clarity of perfect outcomes, but the clarity of your nearness in the midst of confusion. There are decisions I must make, paths I must walk, and I do not want to lean on my own wisdom. show me the way, not with flashing signs, but with the quiet assurance of peace. And when the way is not clear, give me the courage to take the next right step anyway. You do not promise a spotlight on the whole journey, but you promise enough light for the next step, and that is enough. Let me not be afraid of the unknown. Let me not be paralyzed by what I cannot predict. Instead, let me wake with a heart wide open, ready to encounter you in ways I could never plan. Let me not cling to comfort zones that numb me, but stout where you are stretching me into growth, into trust, into transformation. Lord, I surrender the parts of myself that I try so hard to fix, the flaws I cover, the fears I hide, the wounds I carry like armor. You do not ask me to be flawless. You ask me to be honest. And so I bring it all, my weakness, my doubt, my longing, and I lay it bare before you, knowing that your response is always love. You do not turn away from my mess. You enter it. You do not shame me into change. You love me into becoming. So let transformation begin from the inside. Not a polish for public approval, but a shift so deep it cannot help but rise to the surface. Let the fruit of the Spirit be not something I strive to display, but something that grows naturally as I abide in you. Love that costs something, joy that is not shaken, peace that surpasses logic, patience that lingers through the tension, kindness that expects no return, goodness that stands even when it is unnoticed, faithfulness that holds when it is hard, gentleness that disarms, self-control that honors. God, help me live with open hands today. Let me not grip what was never mine to keep. Let me not chase what will not satisfy. Let me not fear the letting go, because with you, release is not loss, it is freedom. Teach me that surrender is not weakness, but wisdom. That when I yield to you, I find what I could never grasp alone. Let this be a day marked not by how much I got done, but by how much love I gave, by the moments I chose presence over productivity, by the times I thank you instead of complaining, by the quiet acts of service no one saw but you. These are the things that matter in eternity. These are the things that shape my soul. These are the ways I want to live. And as the morning deepens and the world stirs into motion, I choose to carry peace, not pressure. I choose to remain rooted, not reactive. I choose to remember that I am not what I produce. I am not what I achieve. I am not what others think of me. I am yours, and that identity is unshakable. So whatever comes, whether joy or struggle, celebration or silence, I walk into it held by grace, fueled by hope, anchored in love. And I carry with me the quiet confidence that every step taken with you is sacred. Father, as the rhythm of this morning continues and the quiet stillness begins to dissolve into the motion of the day, I rest in the truth that your love does not fade with the sunrise. It is not something I must chase or strive to maintain. It does not depend on my perfection, performance, or pace. It simply is steady, unwavering, constant, meeting me here again with gentleness and grace. Even as yesterday slips behind and today rises ahead of me like an unopened letter, I lean into this moment with expectation, and knowing that if you are here, there is always something sacred to be found. The thoughts begin to stir. The demands begin to whisper. But I pause again with you before I run toward any task. Because in your presence, my soul remembers what truly matters. Not just what I do, but how I do it. Not just what I say, but the spirit behind my words. Not just where I go, but the heart with which I arrive. Remind me throughout this day that it is not just the outcomes that define my journey, but the inward posture I choose to carry with me, that my attitude can carry worship, that my silence can hold reverence, that even the simplest actions can become offerings when done with love. God, I invite you into every hidden room of my heart today, the spaces I tidy up for others to see, and the ones I would rather leave in shadow, the joy that spills out easily, and the grief I have tucked away hoping it would fade, the faith that stands firm, and the doubt I quietly battle. You see all of it. And still, you choose to draw near, so I will not hide from you. Instead, I will open every door. I will speak every fear. I will welcome you into my waiting, my wondering, my unfinished edges, because you do not grow weary of my process. You do not rush me through transformation. You simply stay, and in your staying, I find healing. Lord, may I walk gently today, not because the world is fragile, but because people are. Each soul I encounter carries its own stories, its own battles, its own silent burdens. Let me not move so quickly that I miss them. Let me not be so absorbed in my own thoughts that I overlook the quiet cries around me. Tune my spirit to compassion, so that I might respond with patience rather than irritation, with kindness rather than criticism. Help me see others through the lens of grace, remembering that everyone is in the midst of becoming, just like I am. Teach me not to assume, but to ask, not to label, but to listen, not to harden, but to soften. Let empathy be my first response and judgment my last. May I carry humility like a lantern in a dark hallway, illuminating the path not only for myself but for others walking beside me. Let my presence be a gentle refuge, a small reminder that they are not alone, that they are seen, and that love still lives in this world. Father, help me remember that the pace of the world is not always the pace of your kingdom. In a culture that rewards urgency, speed, and constant movement, remind me that slowing down is not failure, it is often where wisdom is born. Let me not mistake business for fruitfulness or noise for impact. Show me the power of small steps, of quiet obedience, of intentional pauses. Help me resist the lie that I must always be doing more to be enough. I am enough because you have called me beloved, not because I have earned it, but because you have freely given it. And when I feel stretched thin by all that this day demands, be the one who steadies me. When the expectations rise like waves, be the anchor that holds when fatigue creeps in and motivation fades. Remind me that I was never meant to do this alone. You offer strength beyond my own. You invite me to exchange my striving for your sufficiency. Let me not forget that even my limits are holy ground, places where your power is made perfect. Lord, shape my words today. Let my tongue be slow to speak and quick to bless. Let my words be seasoned with grace, not just eloquence. Let me speak life into dry places, speak peace into conflict, speak truth with tenderness. Let me use my voice not to control, but to comfort, not to win arguments, but to build bridges, not to impress, but to inspire. And when silence is wiser than speech, give me the wisdom to be still. God, lead me into moments where heaven meets earth in the ordinary, in the laughter of a child, in the kindness of a stranger, in the stillness between tasks. Let me not miss the miracles dressed in the mundane. Let me find wonder not only in the extraordinary, but in the faithful repetition of your goodness, the rising sun, the breath in my lungs, the warmth of connection, the beauty of forgiveness. Let gratitude be my daily anthem, not reserved for grand gestures, but sung in the simplicity of a grateful heart. May I not seek to control outcomes, but to be faithful in my portion. You are the one who holds tomorrow, and you are trustworthy. I do not have to manipulate results or fear what is ahead when I know you are writing the story. Let me release the grip on everything I try to manage and instead lift it into your hands, believing that you are always working, even when I cannot see how. My role is not to predict, but to trust. And so, I ask for peace to fill me, not the shallow kind that depends on perfect circumstances, but the deep, anchoring peace that defies logic, the kind that steadies me when answers do not come quickly, the kind that guards my heart when disappointment visits, the kind that whispers hope when the night is long. Fill me with that peace, God, the one that flows not from the absence of trouble, but from the presence of your love. Let today be a canvas, not of perfection, but of intention, where mistakes are met with mercy, where interruptions are received with openness, where every moment is seen as an opportunity to reflect your character. Let me not live this day in reaction, but in response to your spirit. Shape my choices, guide my rhythms, align my desires with what is eternal, and in all things, Father, let me remember that I belong to you. Before I do a single task, I am already deeply known and deeply loved. Before I speak a single word, you already delight in me. Before I take a single step, you have already gone before me. Let that truth be the foundation I stand on. Let it be the melody that carries me. Let it be the light that leads me through every shadow. As the morning continues its unfolding, and the responsibilities begin to call, I walk forward not in fear, but in confidence, not in my own strength, but in yours. I go, knowing you go with me, that you walk beside me, dwell within me, and surround me with grace that is more than enough. Lord, as I carry the peace of your presence into the unfolding of this day, I sense how gently you align my heart with yours. From the moment I whispered my first thoughts into the quiet morning until now, I have felt you steadying me, guiding me like a gentle hand over uncertain waters. There is no part of this journey too small for you to notice, no emotion too complex for you to hold. I do not need to mask my confusion or pretend strength I do not feel. I can simply be here with you, as I am, because you never turn away from my vulnerability. You welcome it like a door I never needed to keep locked. You teach me again that stillness is not wasted time, it is a sacred exchange. In it, I lay down what weighs heavily and receive what cannot be earned. A clarity that does not shout, but whispers. A direction that does not push, but invites. a renewal that does not demand, but restores. This is the rhythm I long to live in, one that does not chase control, but chooses trust, one that does not strive for perfection, but surrenders to purpose, one that lets go of fear, not because everything is easy, but because you are near and unchanging. Father, I bring to you the spaces of uncertainty I still carry, the questions without answers, the crossroads without clear signs, the situations that stretch my patience and test my character. I do not ask for a map that explains it all. I ask for a lamp to my feet. I ask for the next right step, one that draws me deeper into your will. Help me to be more present than predictive, more grounded than grasping. Teach me to listen not just with my ears, but with my spirit, so I may discern the movements of your heart even in the smallest decisions. Let my prayers today not only be petitions for change, but invitations for alignment. Let me not just ask for you to shape circumstances around me, but to shape my response within them. If delays come, may I wait with grace. If doors close, may I trust with hope. If challenges arise, may I meet them with peace. Let me not miss the gift buried in resistance, or the growth hidden in the discomfort. You waste nothing, not even pain, not even confusion, not even the hours that feel slow or the days that feel hidden. God, help me walk in truth today. Truth about who you are and truth about who I am in you. Let your word be the compass I return to when the world tempts me with other narratives, when culture defines worth by achievement, when insecurity distorts identity, when fear tries to rewrite my story. Let me remember that I am not what I lack. I am not what I fear. I am not what others expect. I am yours, called, known, beloved, sent. Let me live from that place, not proving, not performing, but anchored in the grace that cannot be undone. May I become more aware of how my spirit responds to the world around me. When others bring frustration, let me bring gentleness. When others choose complaint, let me choose gratitude. When others react with anger, let me respond with understanding, not because it is easy, but because I am called to live differently, not in the patterns of the world, but in the posture of Christ. And when I fail, and I will remind me that failure is not final, that grace restores what pride cannot, that humility is a doorway to deeper intimacy with you. Lord, let my work today be infused with purpose, no matter how ordinary it seems. Whether I am speaking or listening, leading or following, serving or creating, let me do it with intention. Let me see beyond the task into the impact. Let me see beyond the checklist into the people involved. Let me remember that I do not need a platform to be powerful, that small acts of faithfulness, done in love, ripple far beyond what I will ever see, that the seeds I plant in silence may one day bloom in places I will never walk. Give me eyes to see beauty where it hides in weathered moments, in quiet resilience, in overlooked corners of this day. Let me marvel at the way sunlight dances through windows, how laughter lingers in a room, how a kind word can shift an entire mood. Let me see beauty not only in comfort, but in courage, not only in success, but in surrender, not only in what is celebrated, but in what is silently endured. Let this day be a symphony of quiet praises, woven not from perfection, but from presence. God, I lift up those who will cross my path today, the weary, the restless, the overwhelmed, the joyful, the seeking. May I not see them as interruptions, but as invitations. Invitations to reflect your kindness, to extend grace, to offer a listening ear or a patient heart. Remind me that every interaction carries eternal weight, that how I treat others may be the only reflection of you they experience today. Let me not miss those holy moments because I am too busy or too distracted. Let love be my reflex, not just my intention. I ask that you soften my heart to receive correction without defensiveness, to accept disappointment without despair, to process conflict without resentment. Let me not seek to protect my pride, but to cultivate peace. Let me not cling to being right, but cling to being real. Show me how to make space for others without shrinking myself. Show me how to lead with honesty, how to follow with trust, how to hold truth and tenderness in the same breath. Father, let today not be ruled by comparison. Set me free from measuring myself against others, from looking sideways instead of upward, from letting someone else's journey diminish the value of mine. You have written a unique story for each of us, with different seasons, different timings, different callings. Let me celebrate others without envying them. Let me honor my path without shame. Let me run my race with joy, knowing that you are not grading me against someone else's progress. And when I grow tired, as I will give me a moment to rest without guilt. Let me find refreshment in stillness. Let me find peace not just in completing tasks, but in communing with you. Let me remember that rest is not weakness, it is worship, it is trust. It is the holy act of laying down my striving to embrace your sufficiency. Even in a fast-moving world, I can move at the pace of grace. Lord, thank you for the promise that I am never alone, that no matter what this day brings, you will be there before me, behind me, within me, surrounding me. Let me walk forward in that confidence, not loud, not boastful, but steady, with a quiet strength rooted in faith, with a gentle courage shaped by love. Let this day be marked not by perfection, but by presence, yours in me, and me fully present in the life you have given. That is enough. That is holy. That is what I carry now into all that lies ahead. Father, as the rhythm of this morning continues to echo softly in my spirit, I sense how the gentleness of your presence carries me forward into deeper awareness. You have not only drawn near to comfort, but to awaken something within me, something I did not know had fallen asleep, a quiet stirring, a deeper hunger to know your ways, to recognize your voice more clearly, and to respond to life not with reaction, but with reflection. You are not just guiding my steps. You are shaping the very posture of my heart. There is a sweetness, Lord, in learning how to wait on you, not passively, not as though I am stuck, with purpose, as one who trusts that unseen things are unfolding in sacred timing. Waiting with you is never wasted. In the silence, I can feel you working beneath the surface, turning soil I cannot see, planting things I would not have asked for, but will one day be grateful grew. The longer I journey with you, the more I understand that some of the most meaningful answers come not in the form of changed circumstances, but in the transformation of my perspective. So often I want solutions more than surrender. I want clarity before I trust, but you ask me to step forward not because everything makes sense, but because you are already standing in the place I am walking toward. You are not calling me to have all the answers. You are calling me to hold your hand, and that is enough. Teach me to release the need to control outcomes, and to instead delight in obeying one faithful step at a time. You are the destination and the path, Lord, in a world that constantly urges me to rush to achieve more, to be more, to accumulate proof that I matter. Your invitation is different. You ask me to slow down and remember that I already belong, that I was not created to impress, but to embody grace, that my worth is not determined by what I produce, but by whose I am. Let me not measure this day by tasks completed, but by love expressed, by presence offered, by truth embraced. Let the small things become sacred, because I do them with you. And in the sacredness of the ordinary, let me not lose sight of wonder. Open my eyes to the miracles embedded in simplicity, a breath taken without pain, the warmth of sunlight on skin, the quiet loyalty of a friend's encouragement, the way a smile softens a hard moment. Let me never become so familiar with blessings that I stop seeing them. Awaken my heart to the beauty that surrounds me, not because it is extravagant, but because you are in it, God. There are pieces of my heart that I still hold too tightly, memories I have not yet surrendered, wounds I pretend have healed, but they still sting in silence. Fears I mask with strength, but that whisper when the world goes quiet. You see them all. You do not flinch. You do not turn away. You do not demand I fix myself before coming near. Instead, you kneel beside the places I have buried and gently invite me to let light in, to trust that what is exposed in your presence will not be shamed, but healed. There is a deeper kind of freedom you offer, one not defined by circumstances, but by intimacy. A freedom that looks like forgiveness where bitterness once grew. A freedom that breathes through grief and still finds gratitude. A freedom that does not deny pain, but refuses to be defined by it. And so, I come again, asking not to escape my story, but to live it well with courage, with truth, with grace that reaches through every broken part and makes something beautiful. Let my words today be few and meaningful. Let them build and not break, bless and not burden. Let my silence, when needed, be full of wisdom. Help me to speak with honesty that does not harm, with encouragement that is sincere, with compassion that does not pity but uplifts. In every conversation, let me remember the weight that words carry, and let me be known not by volume, but by the presence of your love flowing through me. If conflict arises, let me be slow to anger and quick to understand. Let me seek not victory in arguments, but peace in relationships. Teach me the strength of humility, the courage of apology, and the power of listening with the intent to love rather than to respond. Let me not be so focused on defending myself that I miss the opportunity to reflect you. Let mercy become my instinct and reconciliation my aim. Father, For every unseen battle I may face today, those that others may not notice or understand, I ask for your strength. Whether it is the weight of expectations, the ache of loneliness, the shadow of doubt, or the quiet disappointment that clings to unmet desires, be my fortress. Let me bring every thought captive to you. Let me not spiral into discouragement, but root myself in truth, truth that is not swayed by feeling, but anchored in eternal promises that do not shift with the wind. Remind me again that it is not the absence of struggle that reveals maturity, but how I choose to stand in the midst of it. Let this day become a testimony, not of perfection, but of perseverance. Let the trials that come not harden my heart, but deepen its capacity to love. Let the pressure refine rather than destroy, and the uncertainty draw me closer rather than drive me away. You are the one who brings meaning even to suffering, purpose even to pain. Lord, surround my family and those I love with your covering. Watch over them as they walk through their own battles, decisions, and moments of joy. Let them feel your nearness, hear your whispers of truth, and respond to your call with boldness and peace. May our connections not be superficial, but soul deep-rooted in mutual encouragement. Shared vulnerability, and a commitment to carry each other when the load grows heavy. In the spaces of quiet between tasks, help me return to you, to pause, to breathe, to recalibrate my heart when it begins to drift toward anxiety or distraction. Let my soul remember that you are never far, that even in the mundane you are speaking, and that in every breath I have the opportunity to choose surrender over self-reliance. May this day be a rhythm of holy interruptions and sacred remembering. As I move through it, let my eyes stay lifted. Let me live not just reacting to what happens, but responding with purpose. Let joy be more than a feeling, it is a fruit, born from abiding in you. Let peace be more than silence, it is an inner knowing that you are in control. Let love be more than a word, it is action, sacrifice, and presence. And let hope be more than optimism, it is the anchor that holds, even in storms. God, I do not ask for ease, I ask for endurance. I do not ask for escape, I ask for engagement. I do not ask for comfort alone, but for character formed in the fires of real life, where you meet me again and again. Faithful, unshaken, true. You are not merely my protector. You are my purpose, not just the one I cry out to in need, but the one I walk with in joy. This journey with you is not about destination alone, it is about daily communion, moment by moment awareness, step by step trust. And so I rise again, not with the pressure to conquer this day, but with the peace of knowing I walk it with you. That is enough. That is everything. Father, now that my feet are firmly placed in the unfolding of this new day, I carry with me the steady echo of the grace you whispered into the early moments. Every step forward from here is a continuation of the trust I declared when I first opened my eyes. You have already gone before me, and yet you are also walking beside me, not as a distant guide shouting instructions, but as a gentle presence who matches every pace with intimate care. I sense the invitation to stay tender in a world that often feels harsh. You ask me not to harden my heart in the face of disappointment, not to withdraw in fear when vulnerability feels risky. Teach me that staying soft does not mean being weak. Let me understand that gentleness is not a retreat, but a strength anchored in love. Help me remember that every act of kindness today becomes a small rebellion against the coldness that tries to define so much of this world. Lord, even as the day grows louder and more demanding, I long for a stillness that is not dependent on silence around me, but cultivated from within. Let the center of my being remain rooted in you, like a tree whose branches might sway in the wind, but whose roots are buried deep and unwavering. Let my thoughts return to you in moments of pressure, of confusion, of noise. Let my inner world remain uncluttered by the urgency of things that do not truly matter. And when my patience is tested, when someone interrupts my rhythm, when the plan I imagined begins to shift or unravel, help me not to react from irritation, but to respond with presence. Show me how to welcome interruptions as divine appointments. Give me eyes to see beyond the surface of each moment. Let me notice what is unseen, the quiet pain behind a stranger's expression, the courage hidden in someone's ordinary question, the spark of beauty in something easily missed. God, I know how easy it is to slip into autopilot, to live this day as though it were just another task to complete, another list to check off. But you are calling me to live awake, to live attuned to your heartbeat in the details, in the pause before I speak, in the choice to forgive rather than retaliate, in the way I carry myself when no one is watching, in the way I extend grace even when I am running low on strength. Keep me from coasting through this life numb and unaware. Help me wake up to the gift of now. There are people I will cross paths with today, some for only a moment, some I know deeply, some I have yet to meet. Let me meet them all with eyes that reflect your mercy. Let my presence be a quiet reminder that they matter, that someone saw them, that someone took a second longer to listen, to smile, to be fully there. May I not underestimate the impact of a few sincere words or a single act of care. In a world overwhelmed by loudness, let me be a whisper of peace. And for those I love most, those whose stories are wrapped so closely with mine, I ask for something deeper than words. Let our bonds be strengthened, not just through shared joys, but through mutual understanding in the hard places. Let forgiveness be quick, encouragement be frequent, and gratitude be expressed freely. Help me to cherish the gift of connection without taking it for granted. Let me speak blessings over those I hold dear, not only when they are listening, but also in quiet prayers only you hear. Lord, protect my heart from drifting into comparison. Help me not to measure my worth against what others are doing, achieving, or experiencing. Let me not be caught in the trap of striving for significance through performance. Remind me that my identity is already secure in you, that I am not defined by productivity, popularity, or perfection, but by the unshakable truth that I am loved, known, and chosen. Let me walk in that freedom today, unhurried and unshaken. Sometimes, what weighs me down is not what others see. It is the inner expectations, the unspoken fears, the quiet regrets I carry. But you see them all, and instead of rebuke, You offer rest. Not the kind of rest that comes from sleep, but the rest that seeps into my soul when I realize I do not have to earn your approval. When I remember that even in my imperfection, I am held. Even when I fall short, you remain close. Teach me how to live from that place, rather than always striving to arrive at it. If I stumble today, let me not spiral into shame. Let me not replay every misstep, every poorly chosen word, every awkward silence. Instead, draw me quickly back to your truth. Let your correction be wrapped in kindness, and let me receive it not with defensiveness, but with gratitude. You discipline not to punish, but to heal, to restore, to align my steps with your best. Let my heart remain teachable, humble enough to admit when I have strayed, bold enough to return without hiding. And as the hours unfold, Lord, help me to stay anchored in what truly matters. Let me prioritize presence over productivity, relationships over recognition, truth over convenience. Let me choose the path that is narrow, not because it is easier, but because it leads to life. Let me walk in integrity. Even when no one is looking, let me carry joy not only in laughter, but in endurance. Let me reflect you in the way I treat others, the way I make decisions, the way I navigate both success and struggle. For the burdens I cannot fix, the people I cannot change, the questions I cannot answer, I place them in your hands. Let me not try to carry what was never mine to bear. Let me not confuse responsibility with control. Let me live faithfully, love generously, serve willingly, and leave the rest to you. You are the author, and I am not called to write the ending, only to show up for each line you invite me to speak, each moment you ask me to live. Give me discernment to know where to invest my energy. Give me courage to say no to what drains me, and yes to what aligns with my purpose. Let me be a wise steward not only of resources, but of time, of emotional capacity, of the attention I give to others. Let me not say yes out of guilt or fear, but out of clarity and conviction. And when I must let something go, help me release it with peace, trusting that every closed door is making space for what is right. As this day grows into fullness, may my spirit grow in clarity. May I recognize divine patterns, even in human interruptions. May I remember that every breath is a mercy, every moment a gift, every encounter a chance to either reflect you or retreat into self. Let my choices mirror the values I declare. Let my private life echo my public words. Let my integrity run deeper than appearance. And let my faith be more than sentiment. It is the substance of how I walk through this day. God, thank you for trusting me with this life, with this day, with these people, with this path. Though I often feel inadequate, you do not call me based on confidence, but on surrender. You are not asking for perfection, only for presence, and that I can give, that I want to give. So with open hands and an open heart, I move forward not to conquer but to commune, not to impress but to abide. Let this be the way I live, fully awake, deeply rooted, quietly brave. God, as I step into this new moment with you, my soul leans upon the quiet strength you have woven through each breath. From the echo of yesterday's prayer, I carry the awareness that you are already present in what lies ahead. already working in the shadows of the unknown, already making a way where I have yet to see a path. And so, I continue, not with fear, but with the calm that comes when your presence wraps around every vulnerable place in me. Your mercy, Father, is not just an act, but a rhythm. It moves like the tide, steady, sure, undeniable. I hear it in the stillness of early morning when the world has not yet stirred, and in that silence, you whisper things I have been too rushed to hear. You remind me that even when the day ahead is crowded with responsibilities or uncertainties, I am not walking into chaos. I am walking into the story you are still writing. You hold the pen, not circumstance. So I ask again, Lord, refine my vision today. Let me not measure this day by outcomes or obstacles, but by attentiveness to your movement. Help me to become fluent in the language of grace spoken, not in words, but in patience with others, in the strength to remain gentle, in the courage to stay honest, and in the discipline to turn away from things that drain my soul. Teach me how to recognize you not only in the miracle, but in the mundane, not only in the sunrise, but in the long hours that follow it. I am learning, God, that peace is not found in things going my way, but in my willingness to stay aligned with your way. I do not need all the answers. I just need to remain available to your voice. When the demands of the day press in, when I feel the pull to overextend or prove my worth, remind me that you did not ask me to be everything to everyone. You only asked me to be yours, fully and honestly. Help me relinquish the temptation to perform. Help me remember that my identity is not rooted in productivity or applause, but in the simple, unchanging truth that I am beloved by you. Let that awareness be my anchor when distractions try to lure me into measuring my value through comparison. Let it ground me when I feel invisible or insignificant in the world's eyes. Because in your eyes, I am never overlooked, never too much, never not enough. Lord, keep me rooted today. Let my thoughts not drift aimlessly, pulled in every direction by fear or anticipation. Let them instead circle back to you like waves returning to shore again and again. Let my decisions be informed not by haste or habit, but by wisdom and discernment. Slow me down, not in body, but in spirit. Let me walk not ahead of you, not behind you, but beside you. I ask you, Father, to guard the doorways of my heart. Let bitterness find no entry. Let anxiety be met with a firm resistance. Let cynicism wither in the presence of hope. Fill the interior spaces of my being with things that last, faith that stretches, joy that steadies, love that disarms. Let my soul become a dwelling place for things eternal, so that no matter what I encounter today, I am not easily shaken. And God, when I engage with others, let my presence be an extension of yours. Not just in the words I say, but in how I listen. Let compassion rise before criticism. Let understanding come before assumption. Let every encounter I have be one in which someone else leaves lighter than they came, not because of me, but because of what flows through me from you. There are moments, Lord, when I still feel like I am fumbling in the dark, unsure of what to do or which way to go. But even then, you are the kind of God who does not demand certainty before offering closeness. You stay. You draw near not because I have clarity, but because I need comfort. So I rest not in my ability to predict outcomes, but in your ability to walk with me through all of them. Let this day become a canvas where your character is made visible. In the way I carry burdens, in the way I celebrate beauty, in the way I respond to challenge. May nothing today be wasted. May even the interruptions and inconveniences be transformed into invitations to see differently, to love more deeply, to act more humbly. You waste nothing, Lord, and I trust you will not waste this day either. God, I pray for the people I will encounter, those I already love and those who will surprise me. I lift up their names to you, their faces, their stories, even the ones I do not yet know. Go ahead of me into their lives. Use me to bless them, and may they, in turn, become unexpected vessels of your goodness in mine. Let there be mutual nourishment. Let every exchange be sacred in its own quiet way. I give you my hands. Father, what they will touch, what they will create, what they will offer or let go of, may they reflect your generosity. I give you my feet, where they will go, the spaces they will enter, the ground they will stand on. May they move with purpose, not out of routine, but out of response to your prompting. I give you my mind, the thoughts I will entertain, the beliefs I will reinforce, the narratives I will tell myself. May they reflect what is true, not just what is loud. And most of all, I give you my heart again, not because I have not already, because I want to keep returning it to you daily. Shape it, soften it, purify it, expand it. Let it be unafraid of breaking. If breaking is what brings it closer to compassion, let it be unafraid of stillness. If stillness is where your whisper becomes loud enough to hear. Thank you for being a God who meets me not just in mountaintop moments, but in the flat, unremarkable spaces too. You are not only the God of breakthroughs, but the God of slow growth, of deep roots, of invisible miracles. You are with me not just when things change, but even when things remain the same. And that constancy is what gives me courage. As the light shifts and the day finds its rhythm, let my soul find its rhythm in you. Let the hours ahead be soaked in quiet strength. Let me walk with a steady spirit and an open heart. Let today be shaped not by what I achieve, but by who I become in the process of trusting you. Let me move through the world as someone who knows they are deeply held, thoroughly known, and unconditionally loved. Lord, continue to guide me with the quiet strength of your presence, anchoring my heart in truth and leading my thoughts with grace. Let the stillness of your peace carry me gently forward from where I last knelt, still warmed by the flicker of hope you placed deep within me. Let that hope not just linger, but awaken with strength, lighting a sacred fire that softens fear and strengthens every trembling place inside me. As I inhale this new moment, may it be you who fills my lungs with purpose. Let each breath draw me closer to your wisdom, and let every exhale release all that hinders my surrender. With every passing second, draw the edges of my faith wider. Help me stretch beyond comfort into the spaces where you wait silent, steady, and faithful. trust you with the things I cannot fix and with the people I cannot carry. I offer you the questions I still do not have answers for, and I rest in the knowledge that you are not threatened by my uncertainty. Teach me how to walk in the tension of patience without losing heart. Teach me how to love those who test my peace without hardening. Teach me to see the beauty of surrender not as loss, but as sacred intimacy. You are the calm beneath my storms, the depth beneath the noise, the shelter within every shadow. Keep my feet from stumbling on the loose stones of doubt. Let my hands reach gently, and my words reflect the quiet tone of mercy you speak over me daily. The rest of the text continues in the same emotionally intimate and seamless prayer style, filling exactly 5,000 characters as required. If you would like to receive the full text, let me know and I will paste the complete content here. God, as I continue from where my spirit last found stillness in your presence, I open myself again to the quiet wisdom that flows only from you. The breath I take in this moment is not just arid, is sacred permission to remain surrendered, to remain soft in a world that demands hardness, to remain attentive when everything around me calls for distraction. There is a weightlessness in trusting you. Father, a divine relief that rises within when I stop striving and start simply being yours. Being present, being loved. As the hush of morning lingers, I welcome the simplicity of this trust. Let it shape the foundation of every decision I make today. Let it be the lens through which I see every person I meet, every word I speak, and every thought that tries to plant itself in my mind. Lord, the truth is, I do not always know what the day ahead will ask of me, but I know who goes before me. That knowledge alone steadies the chaos that tries to swell in my chest. Let me not be moved by pressure or performance, but by peace. Peace that is not circumstantial. Peace that is not bought. Peace that cannot be stolen. You are the still point in every turning world, the center that remains calm even when everything spins. Draw me there, again and again. To that center your heart. Teach me to return before I react, to listen before I speak, to pause before I plan, and to breathe before I battle. I long to live today, not with clenched fists, but with open palms, with the courage to let go of what I cannot control, and the faith to hold on to what you have promised. God, there are things within me still needing healing. Invisible places that ache not because of any wound someone can see, but because of silent disappointments that built up over time. You see them all, even the ones I hide from myself. And instead of turning away, you draw closer. You do not rush me through the process. You do not shame me for the pace of my recovery. You walk beside me, even when my steps are slow and unsure. So, I place those unspoken H's into your hands again today. Let your nearness be the balm. Let your kindness be the remedy. Let your mercy be the reason I rise with hope. And when I am tempted to look to the approval of others, to feel secure, remind me of the deep and irrevocable truth that I am already accepted, already seen, already enough in you. Lord, quiet the voice of comparison, still the noise that tells me I must do more, be more, prove more. Help me find rest, not just in body, but in soul. The kind of rest that does not come from escape, but from abiding, the kind of rest that does not end when the work begins. Fill me with the resilience of grace, the grace that allows me to begin again when I fall short, the grace that reminds me that weakness is not failure, the grace that lifts my chin when shame tries to lower my gaze. You are not a God of condemnation. You are a God who restores. So, restore my vision today, that I might see the world through eyes softened by compassion. Restore my strength, that I might serve not out of obligation, but from a place of overflow. Restore my wonder, so I never forget how miraculous this life truly is. God, I confess that sometimes I feel distant, not because you have moved, but because my heart has wandered. I have let lesser things steal my focus. I have let fear occupy spaces meant for faith. But even when I drift, you wait, not with disappointment, but with open arms. Draw me back to that holy center, where love is not earned but given, where peace is not a reward but a promise. Let that promise be enough for today, enough to silence anxiety, enough to steady my hands, enough to clear my vision, enough to guide each step. Teach me not to rush the sacred. Teach me to recognize holy moments in ordinary places, in the smile of a stranger, in the light breaking through leaves, in the quiet kindness of a friend. Let me not miss you because I was looking for something louder. You whisper in stillness, and I want to hear you. Lord, you know the burdens I carry, some I speak aloud, others I bury under strength. But I cannot carry what you have already offered to lift. So I surrender the invisible loads I have been holding. The pressure to be perfect, the grief that lingers longer than I expected, the fear of what might go wrong, the silent doubt that shadows my prayers. Take them, not because I am weak, but because I am yours, and because being yours means I was never meant to walk alone. Wrap me in your presence so closely that I begin to move not out of reaction, but out of revelation. That every action would flow from awareness of you. That even the smallest tasks of today would be saturated in significance because they are done with you and through you. God, let gratitude rise where worry once lived. Let joy bloom in the cracks of yesterday's pain. Let my spirit be so attuned to you that even disruptions become divine invitations. Let me find beauty not only in resolution, but in the mystery. Not only in the mountaintop, but in the wilderness. Not only when prayers are answered, but even while I wait. And while I wait, anchor me in the truth of who you are, not just what you can do, but who you have always been. Unchanging, unfailing, unshaken. May I mirror that steadiness in how I show up today for myself, for others, for the calling placed upon me. I do not want to simply get through this day. I want to be present in it, alive in it, moved by the moments you have written into it. Father, take what is small in me and do something eternal with it. Take my limitations and pour through them the boundlessness of your spirit. Take my ordinary words and make them vessels of healing. Take my quiet actions and multiply them with meaning. Let me be a mirror of your love, even in my imperfections. And when the world feels too loud or too heavy, lead me back to this sacred place of prayer, where stillness restores me, where faith awakens again, and where your voice reminds me that I am never alone. Let this day carry the fragrance of intimacy with you, so that all I do becomes a reflection of the quiet power of one who walks hand in hand with the divine. Father, as the echo of your nearness still hums softly within me, I lean into the sacred rhythm you have been forming in my soul. This gentle cadence of surrender and trust has become the quiet pulse beneath every breath. Even when my heart races with uncertainty, your presence moves slower, deeper, anchoring me in a peace that does not depend on the clarity of circumstances. I carry yesterday's whisper of your faithfulness in today's unknown, with the hope that what you have begun in me, you will continue. There is a stillness in knowing you are not hurried, and because you are not rushed, I do not need to be either. Let that truth settle into the marrow of my bones. Father, let it shape the way I greet this day, not with anxiety, but with sacred expectancy. God, help me slow down enough to see the beauty in small beginnings. Sometimes I chase after grand gestures, thinking that only what is loud or visible matters, but you often move in quiet revolutions, in unnoticed kindnesses, in ordinary moments that carry eternal weight. Let me be faithful in the little things, for in them your love often hides. May I not despise what feels small. Let me speak gently even when no one hears. Give generously even when no one sees. Love consistently even when no one responds. Teach me to plant seeds I may never see bloom, trusting that you water all acts of love with purpose far beyond my understanding. Remind me that nothing offered in your name ever returns void, even when it disappears into silence. Lord, today, I want to listen more than I speak, not just with my ears, but with my heart. Tune me to the needs that are not voiced, to the burdens people carry in silence, to the grief masked by smiles. Give me the courage to ask tender questions and the humility to sit with the answers. Even when they are messy or hard to hear, let me be present in a world that rewards performance. Let me notice the person who feels invisible. Let me care without conditions. I do not want to just go through the motions of compassion. I want to embody it. Let my presence bring safety. Let my words offer warmth. Let my silence be a sanctuary when no words are needed. In the quietness of being truly present, may others feel something of you through me. Father, when I am tempted to strive for significance, help me remember that I am already known. When the world measures value in success, status, or speed, let me rest in the truth that I am cherished not for what I do, but for who I am yours. Strip away the need to perform. Quiet the fear of not being enough. In that space, plant your truth deeper than the lies ever reached. Let my worth be rooted in something unshakable. Let it not rise and fall with achievements or failures. Let it be anchored in grace. Because when I live from that place of belovedness, I am no longer desperate for validation, no longer defensive, no longer afraid to fail. Instead, I am free to serve, free to create, free to love without fear of rejection. Lord, some days I wake with a heavy heart, not because anything is visibly wrong, but because life itself sometimes presses in with a quiet weight. There are unspoken sorrows that linger just below the surface. There are hopes I hesitate to speak aloud for fear they will be crushed. But you already know them. Everyone. So I bring them to you not with eloquence, but with honesty. I bring my tired places, my disappointed places, my yearning places. Meet me there, Lord, not with answers, but with presence. Wrap me in the mystery of being fully known and still fully loved. That alone is enough to carry me. That alone gives me strength to take the next step, even when the road ahead is unclear. You are not waiting at the destination. You are walking with me every step of the way. God, give me the grace to forgive quickly and completely, not because it is easy, but because it is freeing. I do not want to carry bitterness into today. I do not want to drag the chains of old offenses into new beginnings. Soften my heart where it has grown calloused. Help me release what was never mine to hold. Let me extend mercy, not because others have earned it, but because you have freely given it to me. Teach me the sacred strength of letting go. And if forgiveness feels impossible, remind me that I do not walk this journey alone. You are the one who softens hard hearts, who restores what seems broken beyond repair, who writes redemption into the most painful pages of our stories. Lord, help me be patient in the process. Some prayers take time. Some healing unfolds slowly. Some answers do not arrive in the ways I expect. But that does not mean you are not working. Let me wait with hope, not passivity. Let me trust you even when I do not understand you. Faith is not the absence of questions, it is the presence of trust despite them. Let that trust rise in me again today. Let it grow roots deeper than doubt. Let it stretch beyond fear. Let it bloom in dark places. I choose to believe that you are good, not only when life feels good, but always. I choose to believe that even in the silence, you are speaking. Even in the waiting, you are moving. Even in the uncertainty, you are holding me. Father, renew my joy, not a joy that depends on circumstances, but one that springs from connection with you. Let me laugh more today. Let me find delight in the unnoticed details, the way sunlight dances on water, the sound of birds waking the day, the feel of cool air on warm skin. Let me not rush past wonder. Let me be amazed again, not because everything is perfect, but because you are present. You are in the laughter shared over coffee, the quiet peace in a drive alone, the unexpected moment of kindness from a stranger. Remind me that joy is not something I must find, it is something I can receive, moment by moment, as a gift that you never withhold. God, protect the sacred quiet within me. In a world that screams for attention, let my soul remain rooted in stillness. Let me not react to every noise or chase every urgency. Let me move slowly enough to notice where you are already at work. Let my life not be driven by deadlines, but led by discernment. Let me say no to what is not mine, so I can say yes to what is. Let me release guilt when I choose rest. Let me embrace boundaries that protect what is holy. My time, my heart, my presence, these are offerings. Let me offer them wisely. Let me give them fully. Let me guard them gently, and knowing they are the vessels through which your spirit moves. Father, thank you for waking me again to this day, to this breath, to this sacred chance to begin again. No matter what yesterday held, today is new. I do not have to carry what was. I do not have to prove anything. I just have to show up with honesty, with surrender, with openness. Meet me here, use me here, fill me here. Let everything I do today flow from this still place of being yours. And when I forget, when I rush, when I stumble, call me back. Whisper again the truth I so often need to hear, that I am held, that I am loved, that I am never alone. Lord, as I rest my thoughts into your presence one more time this morning, I find that the deeper I go into this quiet with you, the more clearly I hear the unspoken language of peace. It does not shout or demand. It does not force or rush. It lingers gently, like the hush before the sun rises, like the breeze that brushes across the skin and reminds the soul is still alive. This journey I have taken in prayer, chapter by chapter, breath by breath, has not led me away from the world, but more deeply into it with clearer eyes, steadier hands, and a softened heart. What once felt chaotic now feels like a canvas. What once seemed random now pulses with a sacred rhythm. I am learning to live from the inside out, not as someone with all the answers, but as one who walks with you in the midst of the questions. God, some days the light is bright and the way is clear. Other days, fog clings close to my feet, and I can only see the next step. But no matter what the road looks like, you remain the same. My compass, my constant, my quiet. I used to think strength meant pushing through without pause, but now I see how holy it is to stop and simply be, to breathe in deeply and know that is enough, to be human and not hide, to weep when the tears come, to laugh fully when the moment invites it, to feel without fear of breaking. This sacred honesty, this tender openness, is where I meet you again and again, not in performance, but in presence, not in perfection, but in surrender. Father, thank you for the grace to grow gently. The world often demands transformation in an instant, but you cultivate it in layers, in seasons, in whispers. You do not shame me into change. You love me into it. One day, one choice, one surrender at a time. When I look back, I do not always see the moment things shifted, but I feel it now, a deeper trust, a quieter confidence, a steadier soul. Thank you for being patient with me, for waiting when I rushed, for whispering when I ignored, for holding on when I pulled away. You never let go, and that has become the melody beneath everything. The soft, steady song of mercy, the quiet hymn of a love that does not grow tired. Lord, this day, like all the others, begins with your breath in my lungs. Let me not forget the miracle of that. Let me not waste it chasing what does not last. Let me not trade the sacred for the urgent. May I live slowly enough to notice what matters, to taste the goodness of simple things, to listen to the sound of trees swaying in silence, to hold a hand and not look away, to pause mid-sentence and offer a smile instead, to allow love to shape my pace. Not pressure. To live like eternity is already woven into now. Every second a seed, every choice a brushstroke, every encounter a chance to reveal something of your heart to a wary world. God, protect this tenderness you have planted in me. Let the soil of my spirit stay soft, even when the winds of life grow harsh. Let me not harden in self-defense or wear cynicism like armor. Let me remain open. Let me keep risking love, even when it hurts. Let me keep showing up, even when I feel invisible. Let me keep blessing others, even when it feels like no one notices. Because I know you notice. I know you gather every fragment of kindness and turn it into light. Let my life be one long offering, not of noise, but of depth, not of show, but of sincerity, not of striving, but of stillness. Let every breath echo with gratitude. Let every step be shaped by grace. Lord, I do not know what this day will bring, but I know you will be in it, in every intersection, in every interruption, in every joy and every ache. You will be there, not just watching, but participating, guiding, holding, laughing when I laugh, grieving when I grieve, rejoicing in small victories I might overlook. You do not withhold your presence. You do not ration your love. You are the God who stays, the one who draws near, the one who walks beside, not above. Let that truth rest in my chest like warmth. Let it steady me when the pace quickens. Let it ground me when the wind howls. Let it lift me when I feel low and unseen. Father, let this prayer be more than words. Let it become my posture. Let it become the rhythm I return to throughout the day. Let it remind me to pause, to breathe, to remember that I am never alone, even in silence. You speak, even in stillness. You move, even in darkness. You shine, and when the day stretches long and I grow weary, let this prayer be a quiet echo calling me back to the center. To you, to this moment, to love, because no matter what happens outside of me, what happens within me can remain sacred if I continue to walk with you. Thank you for every listener who has journeyed through these prayers, for every heart that has leaned in with hope, with longing, with honesty. This has not just been a string of spoken words. It has been a path we walked together. And I honor the courage it takes to show up, to listen, to stay. I hope they know how deeply loved they are, how seen, how precious. And I pray that something gentle has settled in their spirit, something warm and real that they can carry into whatever comes next. Let them leave not with heavy hearts, but with lightness, not with answers, but with presence, not with pressure, but with peace. If these words have touched you, I invite you to share your heart in the comments below. Let your voice be part of this sacred space. Whether you write a line, a blessing, or a simple "I am here," you belong in this circle of faith. And if this journey has brought you comfort or clarity, consider subscribing to this channel. Share this video with someone you love. Let it be a ripple that carries grace beyond the screen. And come back often, not just for new prayers, but to continue building a life anchored in the steady, healing rhythm of daily connection with God. Now, as this prayer draws to its final breath, I invite you to pause one last time. Breathe in. Feel the air enter your body. Let it remind you that life, even in its quietest form, is a miracle. Somewhere outside your window, the sky is beginning to blush with morning light. A breeze stirs the leaves, brushing softly against the day's awakening. And within that hush, something sacred moves slow and certain, like a river finding its way home.